like all right,
words have
just
meanings,
define
yeah.
for me. Hold on, I just need to make sure. Like, define for me what a woman is. I know that TERFs do this all the time. I just need to hear, like, just to understand, like, what is a woman?
Yeah, I think a woman is a person who identifies as a woman. Like, I literally think it's that simple.
No, you can't do that. That gets you
but
infinite
dress goes
regress.
spinny.
Like, it's a logical fallacy. You cannot just say that.
Well, yeah, but I think
Riley,
that
dress goes spinny.
like womanhood is a incoherent concept. That
No. I'm not
I hate to contradict you, Riley, but I can objectively say
identifying as something.
Dress goes spinny.
I don't know.
Okay,
I think you can,
and that's why.
Yeah, I think you actually can. Like, it's frustrating.
That's why we're valid.
It's a limitation of language.
It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that.
It is a linguistic limitation. I mean, you can say it's a logical fallacy all you want, but like it's
literally who I am.
The wording doesn't make sense, but I mean, we can get
it's
into
literally fucking who I am. Okay,
it always comes back to Wittgenstein.
You can call it a logical fallacy all you want.
Yeah, we can talk about linguistics. Like, the fact of the matter is that, like, what makes you a human? Like, we don't have any coherent definition for what really makes a human. We choose we decide what human means.
You can't do that.
Human being a human. Like, you can't just say.
I was just talking about the drama for a minute. Ooh, I'll watch that.
Right? I think that a woman
Reza, keep that link. Send it to me after we get done with the. Like,
I think that.
Wait, is it just for a minute? Okay, I'll do it really quick. Oh my god.
Wait, yes, you actually
but then I have to switch the window, and I'm worried that the window is not going to be.
The state of womanhood is simply choosing to claim womanhood, saying I am a woman. There you are.
Edit anyway.
That is perfectly fine. That's like saying it's an identifier. It's if you choose,
like I'm saying, motherfucking dress goes spinny, okay? And even if you don't like dresses and you don't want to make them go spinny, then there's something. Just whatever is, simple and clean and makes you feel like chat, that's what you gotta go with. You gotta, like, let your heart, be your guiding key and all kinds of other Kingdom Hearts stuff. What is up with Irene posting cringe? So chat, yeah, this is the video that I made today. This is what I was working on in Discord. I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm going to post it without commentary tomorrow on my channel. And then I'm thinking Sunday morning you'll get this, this VOD will be on YouTube for people to check out, so.
Somebody tweet about saying that penises are male sex organs, and I'm just like, oh, this is such
We talked about this earlier on stream.
Oh, you know the
that
take
was Liz.
Yeah, I know, stupid take.
Yeah. Or wait, sorry, what?
I said I think it's a stupid take.
I mean, all right, so listen, basically the way that I look at it, like, I'm trying to think of it. I talked about it earlier. So if we're talking about, like, how to define things according to, like, biological...
So chat, there's a lot more to this debate. Some of it, is still up on Dima's Mama's and not up on RGR's end. Particularly the use of the word degenerate seems like something that RGR has thought better of, which is good. Like, the fact that she deleted it means she understands, like, how it's just kind of, like, I don't know, like, listen, I got what you're saying. I don't think she was really trying to call furries degenerates, but...
Sex. Mm-hmm. Essentially, there's, like, two ways that you could interpret the literature.
Still not a good look.
So what the literature
Still not
is
a good look, RGR.
Is that, like, bimodal distribution of sex, people exist on the spectrum of sex. Usually you want to focus on, like, the qualities that are sexed in a person rather than trying to sex an entire organism, right? So usually, like, people, like, based on totality of their qualities, will fall into, based on those qualities, categories, which we'll probably define as, like, male and female. Obviously, there are people who
do you
don't
see
fit into those,
what I've added to this that was missing before?
Then there's a question
of,
like,
being able to
so,
see
like,
both of their faces at once while they're talking.
Traits which individually
that's what we didn't have before.
Some organism, right? or big argument. Like this is like the Steelman version of like the
joke in isolation,
like the gametic entailment argument.
Bad joke in context.
TERFs will
yeah,
argue,
yeah. In the context, it makes it even worse. Don't be mean to furries. I know, right? That's the thing. It's like it's not really funny.
One of two types of gametes.
Considering how much shit furries get.
There's two gametes, two sexes. That's it, right? Like that's essentially what the argument is.
Just a
and
second, chat. I gotta mute.
This argument, and this is the one that I got from Avi, who is a doctor who actively studies biology, which is wonderful. Also apparently a vegan. I'm not going to debate him on that for a while. I'm kicking the vegan can down the road.
Fair enough.
Apparently that's what he's primarily known for. But anyway, so essentially the argument is that like Avi will not dispute that necessarily those individual things have a sex. But there's a difference between the gametes that an organism produces and how we categorize those gametes and how we categorize the organism doing the producing, you know? And so essentially, like, you can, like, and so, like, and again, I'm not saying that this is necessarily the greatest way to do this. You know, I take a scientific realist approach. I think that the best way of categorizing something is the way which gives the most consistent and reliable outcomes. And so if this is the way that we do it, then fine. If not, then, you know, that's subject to further discussion, and it's probably going to continue evolving in the literature as the literature continues to explore this idea.
Okay, chat. Yeah, that was
essentially like you could either look at something. So then, like, if we bring this back into like the discussion of like, all right.
Oh yeah, there's a convo with
penis.
Lumi.
Is it inherently
we'll take a look at that, maybe.
Organ, or is it just like an organ?
We also missed. There's some more Destiny.
Probably fall either way.
There's some
like,
Destiny RGR that we didn't cover.
That, like, penis, like all the genitals kind of like form from the same
Lumi, the convo was uncomfortable.
Like, they start out essentially the same.
For you, yeah.
Exposure to testosterone usually is what, like, if you just like leave a penis alone and you don't expose it to testosterone,
RGR said she could talk to Demon Mama,
or just not gonna do anything.
But implications of bad faith. So she said she would talk to
argument, like then
Demon Mama again.
That you by this particular argument, then you could argue that a penis is a male sex organ, but you could not
content
argue that a vulva
or
is a
trigger
female
warning
sex organ,
dysphoria possibly. It's the Sedosha tweet that they're talking about
of their
and whether the
genetic sex always starts
certain organs can be essentialized as being certain
to develop a penis in the first place.
As being gendered, I don't know.
Pretty sure that's the case.
Maybe. I have to think on that more, but essentially, like this, like these are the kind of issues that we come up with, right? So
I was wanting to talk to Demon Mama too. That makes sense. That's a good idea.
Clearly, one of two kind of categories. What's like, no, I mean, you know, you could, like because of the way that it develops.
Lumi could talk to Demon Mama.
I think that there are a lot of places where you could say
RGR,
like, there are certain sex qualities, and if you want to say that's one,
RGR encouraged Lumi not to talk to Demon Mama. I see,
like this
because of bad faith.
Binary thing with genitals when you look at the way it develops, I'm not sure if it's as
we'll see. I cut this in this particular way, chat, to try to take a look and see is there bad faith on either part, right?
Functionally,
like, because we couldn't really see. In fact, I'm gonna turn off my like little.
And also, so it doesn't give us anything.
Social
we
thingy.
don't gain anything from calling a penis a male sex organ. And a vulva a female sex organ. We don't gain anything from that. We could just call them penises.
Social role. Right? Yeah, I'm gonna.
Well, I mean, it depends on how we're using the term.
Wait,
like, male
it's
and
not even
female,
on.
Right?
What the fuck? Why does it go?
If we're using the term male and female to describe like.
I don't get it. Why do I still get this even though it's like blocked? Oh, that's so weird. Because I don't like that thing going in front of RGR's face.
Like basically,
I kind of just wanted to be able to like look at them both. Here's what I need to do to be able to see them better.
Mean that it would be okay for like trans people to be like referred to as like male then?
No.
And said she was putting out a video tomorrow.
I'm very specific to say that, like, again, because of the fact that, like,
good to know.
The literature seems to be moving towards more defining qualities of a person with sex.
This is so weird.
Then you wouldn't be able to define like a trans woman as like a quote unquote biological male.
Maybe
because a trans woman, especially on HRT. Now pre-HRT, it's going to be a bit of a harder argument. There is some evidence to be able to suggest that like there is still
I'm
some
gonna
kind
try
of biological
this.
quality. I mean, like this gets into the
See
question
if
of
this
like,
fixes
what's the
it.
cause of gender dysphoria? What's the cause of people wanting to be trans in the first place?
Yeah,
Like, what
maybe
causes
that's
those
better.
mental functions which happen in the first place?
Right.
There's probably something there.
I don't think the bad faith
There's
started
some
until the
literature
actual conversation, to be
like,
honest.
the
I mean, it has
brain
to
And
be,
is
right?
Destiny
It's not-
Skrub?
Well,
Wait,
yeah,
did
unless
Skrub
you're a
get
dualist
involved?
and you believe there's like
Is Skrub
that
involved
soul
now?
thing, that like you have a female soul. But I don't believe
like I didn't
yeah,
listen
no, I
to
mean, I'm
all
not
of
gonna believe
Destiny's
that, but I mean,
stream.
like, you want to be a little bit
from,
careful here because you can easily
Wednesday,
get into like
was
some
it?
trans-medicalist arguments because I mean then you're I mean like then we are necessarily.
Okay, I'm trying to pay
I mean,
attention.
Like,
I'm sorry,
not
chat.
even technically, like we are necessarily
God,
getting into
it's still
questions of
there.
like, all right, so what does
It's
it
still
mean
there.
medically speaking
Damn
to be
it.
trans? So you want to just be careful, because oftentimes if you're not careful, then you can accidentally start like drawing lines. I don't know, like, you know, fortunately, like people who are reasonably knowledgeable about like the you know, about trans discourse are usually able to have like a pretty good head about these sort of things.
Do you love black
just because like
people?
you know, logically speaking, I guess that the way I have like a obby voice in the back of my head now. You can think of this in terms of like looking out for what would result like a rule which would result in like in a reductio ad absurdum, right? Like if you were going to propagate a rule, would that rule result in like outcomes that are clearly wrong, you know? So like with a lot of transmedicalist arguments, you know, you get into a question of like, all right, so what if you have a like, for example, if we define what is necessary, like required to be a true trans person is to have diagnosed gender dysphoria, that's
like,
going to have a problem because that naturally means that you are going to exclude people who we probably would define as trans, but who may not have experienced gender dysphoria or who may have not been sufficiently diagnosed with gender dysphoria.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Or who.
Like, I don't know, like the language right there, like what, like she wasn't the language true trans person. It's like there's certain things that like kind of like set off red flags for people. I'm guessing maybe Riley wasn't, you know, using it in like a positive sense, in a like I agree with this idea sense, but I think
who were incapable of being diagnosed, regardless of the fact they're actually trans.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so like that's an example, and I mean like that's that's
I don't know. I'm trying to be as like
say like why a lot of trans
steel manny as possible.
But that doesn't mean that there's not a different definition of what it means to be trans. It just means that we want to be able to have a definition which does not exclude people who we do not want to exclude, but also doesn't include people who we don't want to include, right? We probably don't want to say that like,
okay, I'm gonna have to.
This is
I'm trying to do something and I'm not looking at it. I want to look at their faces right here. I'm gonna have to roll it back in a second.
This is probably like my spiciest trans take. But I think I'm pretty.
You know you're in trouble after that. You know you're in trouble.
I don't think that we can just say anyone who identifies as trans is trans.
Why?
I don't think that. I think that if we naturally, well, I think that the reason why is if we go with that, then we get into, it's a logical flaw. It's called infinite regress. Basically, like it's a logical fallacy to say that just saying that you're something equals being that thing. Now, I think that there's a definition of what it means to be trans, which is able to accomplish the same thing.
Okay.
Which is essentially like so for example here, let me pull up like the definition that I have relied on, which seems to get me through most things, right?
Sure.
Usually what I look at is like objective and subjective gender. So like objective meaning the totality of your gendered expressions and how society reciprocates and interprets those.
Okay. Combined
with the subjectivity, like the totality of your mental processes, which motivates you to make those expressions, right? So, for example, if you say, I am a woman, that is a gendered expression. That's an expression that you make to society. And if you are in a if you're in a social space which recognizes that expression and acknowledges that to mean that you are a woman and treats you like that, then objectively speaking, you have met the criteria to be a woman.
So then,
right?
should we not set that as the criteria then?
No. I would say that. Well, I would say that this is like this is like a good criteria, and also like we can test this against a lot of like a good way to be able to see if a rule like this or if a principle like this works is be able to test it, right? Because I think that like this is what we see, for example, in the two coolest examples I like are closeted trans people and
I'm gonna rewind it slightly.
of your mental processes which motivate you to make those expressions.
Sorry, chat. I feel like there were some things that Riley was saying that Riley didn't really think would be like, you know, I mean, she says this is my spicy take and stuff, but like would just be like easy things to sign on to. And like she kind of assumes that Demon Mama's signing on to those things. And like, I don't think Demon Mama is, and frankly, I'm not, you know, sold on what she's saying either by a lot, like, you know what I mean? I need it explained. And she's kind of moving along as if she's got an agreement where she doesn't. That might have been potentially where things went wrong. I just don't want to miss, like...
Just saying that you're something equals being that thing. Now, I think that there's a definition of what it means to be trans. That like, and this is also my take, and this is probably this is probably like
it was like right before this,
right?
Yeah, or who were incapable of being diagnosed, regardless of the fact that they're actually trans.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so like that's an example, and I mean like that's the easy argument to say like why a lot of trans medicalists are wrong.
Sorry for rewinding on you, chat.
A different.
I was trying to do something with my overlay.
Trans. It just means that we want to be able to have a definition which does not exclude people who we do not want to exclude, but also doesn't include people who we don't want to include. Right? We probably don't want to say that like.
Yep.
And this is my This is also my take, and. This is probably my... Okay, this is probably like my...
Here's what's interesting to me. When I just hear what Riley's saying, if I close my eyes and I don't look at it, in other words, if I'm looking at my overlay or something and hear that, like, I'm a little bit worried, like, you know, includes the people that we want to include and excludes the people that we don't want to include. And, like, immediately I get red flags set off in my head. Or like, wait a minute, who are we excluding, right? You know, what do you mean by that? What's going on here? Like, I'm a little worried. And, like, I did see Demon Mama's, like, you know, kind of, like, the way that her eyes moved was, like, she was thinking about it. But I was kind of curious, like, how she took it. And it looks like she didn't really react to it. Like, I think I even reacted to that language in a stronger way than she did. So she's still maybe steel manning a little bit more than I am.
My spiciest trans take. But I think I'm pretty... pilled on this or whatever.
So she doesn't look like legit worried. Like, do you know what I mean? She doesn't look like, you know, here we go, like for real. She looks like I'm still having fun. I'm still playing. You're still my friend. Let's go. You know, I don't get any like, you know, fucking menacing, you know, menacing JoJo vibes from Emily here. I don't feel like she's like, she's not, you know, she's not being the debate lord, the infamous debate lord, the infamous phantom debate lord that Destiny seems to think that she is.
Right, sure.
I don't think that we can just say anyone who identifies as trans is trans.
Why?
I don't think that. I think that if we naturally... Well, I think that the reason why is if we go with that, then we get into... it's a logical flaw. It's called infinite regress.
Oh, the good old infinite regress. I love me some infinite regress, chat. What do you feel?
Saying that you're something equals being that thing. Now, I think that there's a definition of what it means to be trans, which is able to accomplish the same thing.
Okay.
Which is essentially like so for example, here, let me pull up like the definition that I have relied on. Which seems to get me through most things.
And I know, chat, it looks like I just cut two, like, videos together. It looks like, what is she talking about? She's like, weird flex, Irene. Like, you know, the big thing is getting audios to work. Because actually, what's strange about this is that, like, you have two videos and two audio tracks. The audio tracks contain more or less the same thing, but they're both actually synced differently, right? Because Demon Mama got Riley's voice after Riley said what she said, and Riley gets Demon Mama's voice after she says what she says. So that was the trick, is to try to, like, line these up and be able to, like, you know, dub, you know, like, not have it look like it's a bad dub or something, like, where, you know, you see Demon Mama, you hear Demon Mama talk, and, like, 2 seconds later, you see her mouth move, right? We don't want that. We want to actually be able to see, you know, more or less where these people were at. Not that you can tell somebody's emotions by looking at their face, but you can tell a little bit more than you could if you were just looking at one or the other. So yeah, this is kind of what I wanted to capture, is, you know, the unconscious, the unspoken language, what is the word for it? The nonverbal language between these two. Not that they were, I don't even know if they were necessarily looking at each other, because a lot of times the way we do these things in Discord, it's just, you know, you're a voice in the Discord for me, and I'm a voice in the Discord for you, and, you know, we both making our stream, and I'm guessing that's how Riley and Demon Mama were doing this today, Monday.
Right.
Sure.
Usually
subtext,
what I look
yeah,
at
subtext is part of it. You'll definitely get more subtext from this.
So like objective meaning the totality of your gendered expressions and how society reciprocates and interprets those.
Okay.
Combined with the subjectivity, like the totality of your mental processes, which motivates.
What keeps on jumping out to me is the degree to which Riley is reaching out for, like, external, I guess what you could call like external validation, in that not external to her but external to the trans community, like that like our validity comes from our ability to convince cis people that we are indeed valid, and therefore if we follow the ironclad rules of logic, people will see that our perspective is correct, and that, you know, their dopey, you know, whatever the fuck they think about trans people is wrong.
You to make those expressions, right? So for example, if you say, I am a woman, that is a gendered expression. That's an expression that you make to society. And if you are in a social if you're in a social space which recognizes that expression and acknowledges that to me,
I feel you, Hannah. I feel you.
That you are a woman and treats you like that, then objectively speaking,
my logic defies basic logic. Advanced logic, go burr.
You have met the criteria to be a woman.
So then,
right?
Should we not set that as the criteria then?
No. I would say that. Well, I would say that this is like this is like a good criteria, and also like we can test this against a lot of like a good way to be able to see if a rule like this, or
like she thinks that Emily's tracking. She thinks that Emily's agreeing in places that Emily isn't comfortable signing on to, and I'm not comfortable. The two coolest examples I like either are closeted trans people and Discord, because I think that Discord is cool. I think that like for example, let me ask you, why do we have gendered roles in trans-friendly Discords? Like, why do we have them?
I mean, because we have because our society and our language requires that we frequently use pronouns, and we create in order to facilitate comfortable use of pronouns, and we unilaterally. Oh,
Chad, I almost forgot. I have to drink the rest of my sake tonight too.
Trans-friendly spaces will have laws that will automatically allow you to identify.
Right, but I mean, like, if you go into an online space, like if you go into a Discord and you don't have a pronoun role,
I'm so bad about drinking alcohol, because
never
you know,
say what your pronouns are.
You can't like keep a bottle of wine.
I would say that
like
there's no
months.
guarantee, or it would be
I just
hard.
Don't drink
like people
very
are going
much.
to be looking for ways.
So usually I'll have
some
like
kind of basis to be able
one
to
or two
glasses, hopefully
glasses,
gender you correctly,
and
right?
then
like,
I'll just keep the bottle and try to drink it later, and it tastes like vinegar.
Right,
but
like, we obviously don't leave.
I don't have very good
taste
taste in alcohol, chat. I don't know much about this stuff.
For either party, it's difficult to try and gender someone based off of loose associations. But I do have yummy, and we acknowledge that, and so therefore I do appreciate it hot. We use pronoun bots because it's just simply easier and more functional for both parties involved to just allow people to identify as they please.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I think that there's more to unpack there, right? Because I don't think that it's just the self-identification. I think that there's more to it than that, right? Because I don't
really think that that's so much the case.
I still don't entirely get what Riley's going for.
Okay. So I think that when you choose a gendered pronoun, or when you choose a pronoun role, right?
You love a good gin?
What that comes up in, like
gin and tonic.
That comes up in is if you have someone.
I just don't know how to drink. Like, you know, the whole thing about like heating up sake. I had to look that up, how to do that.
Of their interaction.
It turns out that my rice cooker is really useful for heating up sake.
Other person. Why either the other person has not expressed what their gender is, either the other person has just been acting in a way that
it's like literally the perfect thing to keep it warm.
Enough information to be able to make a
I don't
sufficient
think
determination.
that's a thing, Chad. I don't think that's an actual thing. It's just a thing for me, the thing that I use it for.
And in Discord, there's really not that many. You can have a PFP, but nowadays I can't tell you a whole lot.
Jen and ginger ale are amazing. That sounds yummy.
It's not necessarily determinative.
Sure.
I should try soju sometime.
A really determinative thing that exists in online spaces is being able to look at pronoun roles. And if you look at someone's pronoun roles and you see she, her, that's a social expression that someone, and mind you, it's not like someone necessarily just chooses that just.
The other thing that fails is that Riley prides herself on being accessible to people who disagree with her, and doesn't understand that just because a tool works with some people who disagree with her doesn't mean that it works for all. So when this line of argument fails for Demon Mama, Riley feels Demon Mama is wrong for not being compelled by her cool logical tool. Yeah, I mean, like, I can understand being frustrated. It's just the way that she expresses that, like that just naturally surprises the fuck out of me. Thank you for the follow, Macarunsi. Am I pronouncing your name right? I hope. But if I'm not, you're joining. It's actually an honor, apparently, to join the few, the proud, not the few, the many, the proud that I've mispronounced names, because it's a thing. If I mispronounce your name, you're cool. Basically, that's what that means.
For the sake of choosing, right? It's not
like you don't know that. You never can know that. That's
I'm not sure
it's impossible to know.
Like, if I pronounce your name correctly, you're also cool. But if I mispronounce your name, it's even better.
No. It's impossible to know. How could you ever know the reasons why someone else chooses whatever, like, role? Like, I mean, you run into the problem.
I mean, like, there's evidence to be able to suggest that, like, even
now, chat, as much as, like, and you might have noticed, I am getting away from panels as much as I can. Because listen, when I'm the host of a panel, even if I make the rule that I say, hey, look, I'm in the panel too, I'm gonna jump in, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, it's a bad look for me. Do you know what I mean? And, like, because I am on my own show and I can take up 20 minutes if I want to, it's kind of like, it's an unfair, like, it's not really, it's not what I want, right? You know, being in the debate that I'm hosting and sort of acting as moderator. Like, I fucking hate doing the moderator thing. Like, right? It's like something that, like, fucks with me. And there's so many things about debate. We could go on and on for hours about what the problems with the big panel shows and stuff like that. I'm not a fan. But when you are going to watch a debate, it's so much better to be, especially the one-on-ones. I like this format so much better. Like, being able to see both people's faces, I feel like I'm actually, like, watching the debate for the first time.
That it's necessarily like
seeing Riley start to get exasperating, seeing Demon Mama, you know, kind of, I get the feeling that at this point Demon Mama is just like, okay, listen, I'm not gonna, you know, if you post cringe, I'm not gonna put my rubber stamp it for you. But, like, I don't think Demon Mama is thinking that she's gonna massively agree or disagree with Riley at this point. That's everything that I read from Demon Mama says that she is, you know, having still a friendly conversation.
I think that there is enough evidence to be able to suggest, and I think that we can, like, match this against our own experiences, right? I think that this is probably consistent with our own experiences, right? Maybe. No one just chooses to be trans, like, in the same way that someone chooses what the
join Discord to be extra cool. Yeah, put my stuff on Reddit to be extra cool.
Put on, like,
that's the real cool. That's the real cool beans. The beans that put my stuff on Reddit.
Like, chooses what to wear in the morning.
Because chat, apparently I'm too big to self-post at this point.
Like, there is a choice which necessitates that outcome, right? Like, there is like, when someone makes the choice to come out as trans, it's not so much a choice to be trans, but rather a choice to express who they are, right? Like, I think that
I mean, I think it depends on the person, right? Like, I think that would be largely true for most, like, binary trans people. But
are you saying? I'm trying to understand.
I feel like the definition of gender Riley works with and the one Demon Mama works with are so different that at this point they can't communicate effectively. You're right. I'm noticing that. Yeah, I think you're onto something, Newton. I think at a certain point, Demon Mama recognizes that this is getting heated and tries to de-escalate. But oh, she does. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking. Demon Mama does get a little saucy for a second, but then yeah, you're right. She actually calms herself down, which is not easy. Once you've you know what I mean? Like, not necessarily said something mean, but like you kind of tipped your hand of like, okay, this is something that you will not miss. You know, you give them that sign of like, yeah, I don't appreciate your disrespect. It's kind of like, it's hard to reel it back in after that, because there's a temptation to just be like, okay, are we going? Are we going? Are we going? Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I mean, you can still de-escalate. You can still de-escalate.
Because I mean, like, my understanding of just about every trans person is that that experience is not a choice. It's an intrinsic part of who they are.
Their chats wanted this to end.
I don't know that.
Okay.
Like, I mean,
that's right. Demon Mama wanted this to end. And the chats wanted this to end, and they were both right.
I don't know that I would make distinctions to that degree, because I don't think we can
as soon as it was noticed that there was so much emotion in this, that should have been a time. I don't know. I'm here. I am backseat driving it. It's different when you're on Discord. It's different when you're on stream. You kind of want a segment to work out. You don't want a segment to crash and burn. You don't know if you fucking mute Riley and say, hey, I'll talk to you another day. Like, that might be, you know, what triggers somebody to burn a bridge, right? People, it's a tough call. It's a really tough call.
Or no. And so I don't think that for the purposes of categorization that it's mostly like mostly useful to worry about where the intention is. Like, for example, good. I don't know. Okay, so I'm trying to think of an example of this. Like, is somebody who chooses to like wear gender like they would wear clothes, is that person's gender expression any less valid than someone who has some sort of dysphoria issue? I think that it's very hard to separate these things out, given how deeply deeply entrenched the concepts of gender roles are in our society, and how nonsensical they are. They're like highly chaotic. What's that?
No, I don't. But you have to be very careful, because I mean, like,
damn it.
So if we're throwing out the necessity for someone,
like
if we're throwing out complete, look, hold on. If we're throwing out subjectivity,
I didn't realize she did this. I didn't realize she did this.
So we're just basing it off of.
Oh, cool.
All right, hold on.
Okay.
I just need to clarify, because
sure.
I mean, now that I know this, I can fix it.
Subjectivity and objectivity are both very important.
So basically, what I need to do is like reorient this right here so we can see her face again.
Okay.
Right.
I wonder how long this lasts. See,
someone who presents
she switched scenes.
Right? If you throw subjectivity out,
so now she's where Demon Mama's at,
and the way that they express themselves as society.
So I kind of need to be able to move her around the screen.
That's only a guy. There's only a guy there. All right. We don't want to do that. We don't want to say that.
I wasn't making that argument at all.
But if we throw out subjectivity, then that's essentially what we're left with.
Wait. I think there may have been a misunderstanding here.
Okay.
Everyone but Riley wanted this to end.
What do you mean by that?
This was supposed to be mostly casual, not a segment.
The internal.
I don't think. Oh yeah, you're right. It was just to talk about the Sedosha tweet, right?
An expression of objective gender.
Right.
Because we can't just say that's like we cannot.
Well, I don't think there's such a thing as objective gender.
It's funny.
I don't think that gender.
OWM.
Objective. I'm using. All right.
I've been hearing people accuse Demon Mama of what you're talking about.
How the average reasonable person in a
I've been seeing people say that the Demon Mama was the one that was cornering Riley
to categorize into a certain gender.
So what you're saying is like what people conclude you are.
Well, it's how.
Okay, I think I know how to fix this.
And how people interpret your expressions based on your expressions, right? Like if I go outside, and dress in a certain way, my expressions will be interpreted different gender-wise based on what different parts of the world.
Right here, let's see. Sorry, chat. I'm like editing this a little bit as we go, just because I want to remember exactly where.
Separate these things out. Is to like wear gender like they would wear clothes. Is that as it right
there, okay.
Wear gender like they would wear clothes.
Okay, so we're gonna cut it right here. Cutting Riley's side of things. Boom. And then we put this. Wow, what did I do? Oh, what did I mess up? Okay.
Is that person's gender to...
Okay, so there we go. We're good. We're good. So I take this and I go here. And then crop. And then transform. What do you think, chat, right there? A little lower. It's an art. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So let's watch that transition once again. See if I need to actually put a transition on here.
Clothes. Is that person's gender expression any less valid than someone who has some sort of dysphoria issue? I think that it's very hard to separate these things out, given how deeply and deeply entrenched the concepts of gender roles are in our society, and how nonsensical they are. They're like highly chaotic. What's that?
No, I don't. But you have to be very careful, because I mean, like, so if we're throwing out the necessity for someone, like if we're throwing out complete, like, hold on, if we're throwing out subjectivity, because that's what it sounds like. So we're just basing it off of. All right, hold on. I just need to clarify, because
Sure.
I want to be careful. Subjectivity and objectivity are both very important to me, because if you don't have subjectivity, then that means that, like, let's say that, for example, we have a pre-transition trans woman.
Okay.
Right. Someone who presents guy completely.
Okay, sure.
Right. If you throw subjectivity out and you just rely on objectivity and the way that they express themselves as society and how society treats them, that's a guy. That's only a guy. There's only a guy there. All right. We don't want to do that. We don't want to say that.
I wasn't making.
Sorry for making you rewatch little bits and pieces, chat. I just want to make sure that we're looking at both of their faces through this whole thing, because, like I said, that's what we've been missing.
Making that argument at all.
But if we throw out subjectivity, then that's essentially what we're left with.
Well, wait. I think there may have been a misunderstanding here.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not saying throwing out subjectivity. What do you mean by that when you say that?
Subjectivity is like the internal mental processes which necessitate an expression of objective gender. Right? Because we can't just say that's we cannot.
Well, I don't think there's such a thing as objective gender. I don't think that
gender.
Objective,
hold on. Objective. I'm using. All right. Hold on. Objective. I'll define objective.
Okay.
Objective. I'm using.
Yeah, I thought I'd done all my. Well, I'm showing you. Okay, so here's the deal, chat. I was gonna actually render the video and then show it to you after that, but it took so long to make. And then I was thinking to myself, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna show you this tomorrow? I really want to stream this tonight, you know. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can just give you the window for my editing software. And here it is, the window for my editing software. So yeah, you are getting editing in real time. Although I'm not showing you the entire program, you know, you're not getting to see all the editing tools and stuff and all the things that I'm doing, because I've tried that before and people apparently really do not like that. They do not come to me for editing knowledge. So
how the average reasonable person in a space or society interprets the totality of someone's
Destiny is utterly poisoned against Demon Mama because of the Skrub drama.
Right?
True.
So, what people conclude you are.
I think he got poisoned against Demon Mama for the Skrub drama because of, you know, getting kind of washed by her in a debate earlier. I know.
Well, I
know Booksmarts calls it even, but honestly, I mean, just going from a point of who was posturing up and who was hunched over, it was definitely Demon Mama that was bringing the energy to that fight.
Your expressions and how people interpret your expressions based on your
Destiny chose to involve himself.
If I go outside and dress in a certain way, my expressions will be interpreted different gender-wise based on what different parts of the world I'm in.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, it's but I think that most people don't have a coherent set of rules for that. I think they just literally follow their emotions.
Well, I think that no, but that's why I'm trying to make it a reasonable standard, because it's not based necessarily on some kind of like hard set like criteria. It's based on how the average reasonable person in society interprets it, right? That's going to change all the time. That's going to vary from person to person. But overall, you look at like the average person in society, there's going to be like broad trends in what people expect, right? In America, kind of like Western kind of idea, you know, you have some broad trends like long hair, dresses.
But I think those are like really like, I think those are incredibly fuzzy. Like in my experience as well.
It might be fuzzy, but we're talking about like broad averages, right? Like broad.
I don't think she ever makes clear what a reasonable person is.
Those can be time and context specific.
It's a legal
right?
concept.
So like broadly speaking, we're just talking about like the average image of a woman in society, and that can change. And people like activists can push that meaning to change all the time.
Okay, so
that's like a really important aspect of what a lot of like trans activists.
Why are we still watching this?
Disparagingly, but like actually. That's like a lot of like.
Ziltoid, I don't know if you noticed, but this is the first time you've seen this debate with both faces on the screen at the same time, because this is a new edit.
The work in what they do entails is that they push the average reasonable interpretation of what.
So in terms of like actually being able to get a sense of like, you know, what happened here, and you know, the nonverbal language going on. Yeah, this is kind of like some, like, I felt like I didn't really understand, and I thought that having them both on screen at once would be a way to sort of figure out, like, because, like, I could tell that they both felt disrespected, but I didn't really see what had precipitated that for each of them.
It means to be a gender
sure.
by virtue of their activism. A really good example is like normalizing the idea that a woman does not have to have a certain kind of voice, right?
True.
There was probably a point in history where the average reasonable person expected that a woman have a certain kind of voice or have a voice within a certain range of voices, right?
Sure. But, I mean, I think that still exists to this day. I mean, I get misgendered all the time based on that.
Well, I mean, I think that as time progresses and trans women become more normalized in society, especially trans women who have voices which are not conventional to how the average reasonable person expects for voices to sound.
Reasonable person, there we go.
That expectation
Some of this language is really hanging me up.
The average reasonable person does not necessarily require that as a sufficient or necessary condition to be categorized in what they define as a woman.
I think we're playing like a little fast and loose with those, but yeah, I see what you're saying. You're saying that this can be changed, but I guess I'm just a little lost as to what the like why any of this would matter with regard to what we decide like being trans means.
Hold on. All right, let me go with that. So it's necessary because so when we're bringing it back into what it means to be trans, well, I mean, I guess it goes to what it means to be a gender generally. Because if we're accepting that trans people are a gender which is contrary to the one that they were assigned at birth, then we need to be able to find what a gender is, because what a gender is necessary to understand. Like it's a categorization that's necessary to understand what it means to be trans. Because if you are gender contrary to what you were assigned at birth, then we need to know.
Yeah, are we included in reasonable? Yeah, exactly. I mean, good point.
I would argue that again.
Or is it completely external? Is our definition completely
like our society
imposed from outside? And that's the question that Emily's posing.
The average reasonable person.
That's what Emily's pushing back against here.
Consistent or sensical understandings of what gender or sex is.
And I gotta say, I agree.
I don't think that that's the case. I think that there are like broad trends. I don't think that everyone's idea of what it means to be a woman is exactly the same. But I think that there are like broad trends, right?
But when you
who's the reasonable person?
You do have
like a comparable.
Is it your average Kekona?
Like when you think woman, most people have like some vague ideas that come to their mind.
Sure, but
right?
so do people. But when you say a transgender person, they'd have that too. There's all kinds of like stereotypes and assumptions, and those vary greatly.
Well, sure, but I mean, like that's a matter not of like that's not necessarily an inherent flaw. That's just a matter of like activism to show other people that's a matter of like shifting the idea of what the average reasonable person believes, right?
Maybe
because like here's I guess like to clarify.
Wait, what did Vosh do?
In an objective sense.
What did Vosh do? Chat.
Hold on, nothing about what other people think about me makes me a woman, though.
Vosh took a neutral stance in this.
I'm trying to explain like objectivity. All right.
Yeah.
Because
did Vosh take a neutral stance here?
Understand like the term objectivity, and that's different from subjectivity, and that those are two different things, and that they have often
not even like to agree with
they don't necessarily overlap, but for a lot of people that they do.
Vosh.
And so like when we're talking about objectivity, right? When we're getting into this question,
no one knows anything.
So you have a trans woman. Let's say that we're a trans woman in early 2000s.
Okay.
Let's say that you're also a trans woman who did not have
RGR is pretty centrist,
gender affirming care.
Trans people often imagined get imagined further left
you're like, oh shit,
than we actually are, which is part of why folks like Blair White steer right hard.
I'm gonna start going on HRT. I'm gonna start presenting femme. Fuck boy moding. I'm just gonna go straight into
Destiny was so dishonest. He was attacking Mama heavy from the start. Yeah, he's got a thing with her.
That person subjectively is a woman, right? They have taken, they've taken a lot of really important steps to, for example, like
objectively speaking,
as a woman, expressing themselves as a woman, to start telling other people that
actually bad here. Bad take,
like, they took those steps because
Vosh smart.
They realized
maybe Vosh smart.
Like it was not just. It's not
maybe
just
Vosh smart. What's up, Famousaurus? How's it going?
Intrinsically a woman.
Also,
right?
meow.
But then when they go outside, they may not be treated as a woman because society.
He's gone full BEC
based
because
on
of
the average reasonable person's interpretation of what a woman means. They may go outside and they may not be treated as a woman. That is not necessarily like that has nothing to do with their subjectivity, like their subjective understanding of gender. And that's not saying anything negative about their subjective understanding of gender. Like subjectively, there is like they are completely 100% a woman, right? But there also is a meaningful understanding and being able to address the fact that like they're not treated as a woman in society.
Well, yeah, but
right?
I mean this is just passing politics, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean like that's changing, right? Because we're able to.
Well, yeah, we're changing passing politics, but we're not changing what it means to be a woman. We're just changing the politics of passing.
I think that we kind of are changing what it means to be a woman, right?
Maybe.
Like at least in an objective.
I mean,
sense.
I would argue that like. In an objective sense, like again, I would argue that in an objective sense, it's almost incoherent. There are tons and tons. I
get why Vosh said no.
Yeah, like, I mean, like in a sense, yeah, like gender is all societally constructed, right? But that means it's necessarily going to change over time. Like, sure, it's all incoherent.
I mean, if he doesn't understand the
meaning to what it means to be a woman, right? Like there.
Yeah, maybe that is the better. I don't know.
Means something. I think that
we were talking about this earlier in Discord. Okay.
Something.
Well, I mean yeah, but I mean that's
we were talking about this debate earlier in Discord, and we decided that like it's kind of not really for mass consumption. It's not like really a debate that like allies and stuff are gonna understand. This is, you know, a community thing. This is for trans people, and so like in that sense, I could see how Vosh might not be able to make heads or tails of it enough to really want to come down on one side or the other.
So like, all right, you know, just define for me. Hold on, I just need to make sure. Like, define for me what a woman is. I know that TERFs do this all the time. I just need to hear, like, just to understand, like, what is a woman?
Yeah, I think a woman is a person who identifies as a woman. Like, I literally think it's that simple.
No, you can't do that. That gets you a
dress goes spinny.
Like, it's a logical fallacy. You cannot just say that.
Well, yeah, but I think
Riley, dress goes spinny.
Like womanhood is a incoherent concept. That...
No. I'm not.
I hate to contradict you, Riley, but I can objectively say
identifying as something.
Dress goes spinny.
I don't know.
Okay?
I think you can,
and that's why.
Yeah, I think you actually can. Like, it's frustrating.
That's why we're valid.
It's a limitation of language.
It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that.
It is a linguistic limitation. I mean, you can say it's a logical fallacy all you want, but like it's
literally who I am.
The wording doesn't make sense, but I mean, we can get into
literally fucking who I am. Okay?
It always comes back to Wittgenstein.
You can call it a logical fallacy all you want.
Yeah, we can talk about linguistics. Like, the fact of the matter is that like what makes you a human? Like, we don't have any coherent definition for what really makes a human. We choose we decide what human means.
You can't do that.
Human being a human. Like, you can't just say
I was just talking about the drama for a minute. Ooh, I'll watch that.
I think that a woman
Reza, keep that link. Send it to me after we get done with it. Like,
I think that.
Wait, is it just for a minute? Okay, I'll do it really quick. Oh my god.
Wait, yes, you actually
but then I have to switch the window, and I'm worried that the window is not going to be.
The state of womanhood is simply choosing to claim womanhood, saying, "I am a woman." There you are.
Edit
there you
anyway.
That is perfectly fine. That's like saying like it's an identifier. It's if you choose,
like I'm saying, motherfucking dress goes spinny, okay? And even if you don't like dresses and you don't want to make them go spinny, then there's something. Just whatever is, you know, simple and clean and makes you feel like you know, chat, that's what you gotta go with. You gotta, like, let your heart, you know, be your guiding key and all kinds of other Kingdom Hearts stuff. Okay, I'm gonna cut it there. Gonna see what's going on here. Okay. Sorry, chat, it's taking me a minute to, like, get this back where we can see RGR once again. Okay, and then we take this, we scroll it back here. There we go. Is this where the tautological part comes up? The whole, like, that's a tautology. No, it's not.
Actually can, because you're saying that that the state of womanhood is simply choosing to claim womanhood, saying I am a woman, there you are, there you have it. That is perfectly fine. That's like saying like it's an identifier. It's if you choose to
it's like
to take this title onto yourself, then you have that title.
It's like choose your own gender.
Like, you need to be careful. This is literally so when people make the attack helicopter meme, this is literally the logic that gets you into the
nope, actually it isn't.
Wait, what are we talking about? I actually think nocommentchick or Lumiru should moderate. Keep it among us. Yes, that's a good idea. No, I like that. Wait a minute. Yeah, I guess I am. I don't know, chat, did I spoil it by giving my take of agreeing with Emily? I'm guessing, though, that Lumi probably agrees with Emily, too, so I don't know, it might be hard to find, like, a completely unbiased moderator. No debate over what is the definition of trans. Yeah, I know, right?
Then how isn't... All right, then explain to me how that's different. Like,
wait.
Again, I'm really trying to be, like, thoughtful with this.
Sure. I mean, it sounds like you're getting a little frustrated about
it. You just added the Among Us meme. Yes, I noticed that. That was cute.
What's that?
No, I'm like, it is.
And then afterwards, we'll all play Among Us.
A little, like, all right, sure. It is a little bit frustrating because, I mean, like, this, I care a lot about making sure that our arguments are able to stand up to scrutiny.
Maybe it was a bad theory section.
Hey, don't our us. I'm an individual and you're an individual. I'm not going to be policed.
Okay, you are a representative. All right, you are acting as a representative of a larger community. All right, when I'm saying us, yes, like you are not just acting as an individual.
I still think that Emily's not like.
Yeah,
I don't think that.
Yeah, actually, I mean that is true. You sound a lot like Destiny right now, to be completely honest.
Wait, what?
Okay, wait. Is this the first? This is the first time that she Destiny's RGR, and I feel like if I'm not mistaken. this time, like, yeah, here's what's really fucking with me, right? She doesn't look angry at all. And, like, the thing that she's saying, it like, RGR hasn't actually said the take that sounds like Destiny. Now, to Emily's credit, like Emily said, I had Shinigami eyes, you know, I could see. And she's right, because RGR makes that exact, like, right as I'm about to be like, Emily, you know, like, she's not actually making the Destiny take. Don't superimpose that on her. Like, Riley proves Emily right, and that's, yeah.
Hold on, wait, no.
Spoiler.
Wait, why are you attacking me personally?
I'm not attacking you personally. I'm just pointing out that in this moment, like, you're saying, you're basically.
Lumi reviewed this convo earlier and then talked to. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Implying that if I have like a flawed argument,
the default person should moderate.
Misrepresenting the trans community, and
we need to get one of those blank, like, you know, one of those egg account PFPs from Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, if you log on to Twitter and you don't put anything for your avatar, the thing that Twitter gives you.
No, hold on. Don't take my words out of context. I'm not saying that you're misrepresenting the trans community. I'm saying that because you're a public figure, I want to make sure that your argument.
To be fair, I think it's a little. Excuse me, chat. Sake burp. Wow. To be fair, I think it's reasonable for RGR to get a little upset about Dima Mom was joking there. Wait, what were you talking about? What was the thing that Demon Mama was joking about? So much pretentious nonsense from Riley. If I recall correctly, Riley said she didn't know what a tautology was until someone explained it after the debate. I actually think, yeah, wait. Destiny, I don't think Destiny added fuel to the fire. I saw the fallout of this argument, and RGR needed someone like Destiny to say that her arguments were valid, because they are. The way she chose to present them was not articulate enough, and Demon Mama was not engaging with the concepts, made a bad dish overall. I think Demon Mama saying Riley was acting like Destiny was maybe a joke. Oh, okay. I didn't get that from her face, but that makes more sense than what I was thinking. Yeah. When she said she was acting like Destiny. So you think the first time was a joke? Or maybe, as she said later, with the Shinigami eyes, maybe it was a little bit prescient. You know, she was seeing into the future.
Have strong validity.
I want her arguments strong validity. I wouldn't want you representing.
Maybe the spice is strong with this one. Oh yeah, no, this was. I kind of enjoyed this because, like, yeah, like they're she is pushing back against a little bit of, you know, being talked down to.
Poorly.
I have done I can guarantee you, I have done a ton of work to make sure that they are able to stand up to scrutiny. I've gone against.
Likewise, me too. I'm also, I've been kicking at this a bit longer than you have too.
I mean, what is this supposed to be, like a measuring contest? I'm not trying to make a measuring contest.
I mean,
I'm not trying, like, I'm literally like, don't make this into like a competition.
Wait a second, hold on. Let's take a second. You started getting worked up. I pointed out that this was becoming emotional.
Like, the reason I'm getting worked up is because you're not listening to me. Like,
wait, hold on a second.
No. Can you define a woman? Hold on. Are you talking to me? Is Riley struggling with identity?
Like, Demon Mama didn't just say that. So here's the thing that's confusing me is that, like, she's really calm in this, but I think she's, at the very least, she feels like she's been insulted. At the very least, she feels like she's been talked down to. Like, she doesn't just do this randomly.
Identity not being objective. No, you cannot. Do I need to talk about
And I'm pissed off that I fucking didn't see it again.
Because it was so peaceful.
Oh my god,
here,
thank you.
But now there are freaking communist invading radicals.
Thank you, Pink Wug, for the subscription. Thank you, Reza Sutra, for the gift to Pink Wug subscription. The point is, I didn't like Demon Mama's attitude. Stop gifting me anywhere. I didn't do it.
do people not understand the concept? X equals Y plus X. All right. Do you see a problem with that?
How do you define women?
Problem with X equals Y plus X?
X equals Y plus X. I don't see how this is coherent. Like, how does that tie back to anything at all?
All right, no, because this is what you're doing. If you say that being a woman, X, equals identifying Y as a woman, X, this is what you're proposing logically.
Let me ask you, how do you define
what she's proposing is that everybody's gender is like a black box that's inaccessible to the rest of us, other than by inquiring what their gender identity is and what pronouns that they would like to go by. That's what Demon Mama's saying. And it might be frustrating to somebody who wants to set up a logical justification for our existence, but there's a reason that some of us don't want to... How should I explain it? There's a reason that that we shouldn't get sucked into the trap of feeling like we have to justify our existence, right? And I mean, I don't think that what Riley's doing, trying to set up a logical series of, steps to maybe make a few logic bros question their their smuggling, right, to put them back on their feet, when they're like, oh yeah, and there's not really more than two genders though, ha ha ha, right? I appreciate you for that, Riley. I appreciate the fuck out of you, but you can't expect to impose that on somebody who is determined to justify their own existence and not rely on an external, right? It's just Demon Mama is not where you're at as far as relationship to the cis world, right? Demon Mama's got a fundamentally different understanding of her relationship. Yeah, and I do say her relationship because we all got to choose how we're going to relate to the cis world. It is a personal choice. It isn't something that we move to as a monolith. We don't say that okay, well, we're going to find the talented 10th within us and we're all just going to listen to their logic and repeat it back to, cis people. And that's how we'll make our arguments, because that's how a good argument gets made. I think we need both arguments. I think we benefit, that is to say, from both arguments in terms of our dignity and self-determination when it comes to Demon Mama's argument, and in terms of our ability to work within the framework that society has sort of pushed us into, and still be able to even turn their own logical constructions against them, like Riley's doing. I do appreciate both, but what I don't appreciate is one trying to impose itself on the other. And here I see pretty clearly that Demon Mama's not the one imposing her view of gender.
All right, I will go through it again. All right. I define a woman as a gender. A gender is based both objectively and subjectively.
Oh, fuck it. Did it pause? Chat, is it still moving?
The totality of
okay, as long as I'm here, right? You can still see it, right?
Interpretations of those expressions, and C, the average reasonable person's categorization of one based on those interpretations, and 2, subjectively, meaning it's comprised of the totality of one's involuntary thought processes, which
one can be logically consistent and still wrong.
Contradictory, it completely avoids
or not entirely
issue,
correct,
which is an infinite
in this
regress.
case.
It's meaningless. This is logically meaningless.
Okay, so your definition.
Yeah, good point. Sub-internet check. Good point.
Woman is a gender, yes. And that a gender is defined by what other people decide you are and what you decide you are.
No. Well, I mean, it's defined based on first objectivity, which means, and I'll say it again. Objectivity.
Okay, I get it. You don't need to do little
Well, you asked me to clarify.
I'm trying to genuinely clarify, but you don't have to Chat,
I'm so proud of this audio sync.
Again,
wait, what little?
I'm so proud of this audio sync.
That is not you don't. I'm just trying to get where you're coming from.
It may not be perfect. But given what I was dealing with, it's damn good.
I'm trying to not.
What do you think, chat? Do you like my sync?
I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I like you. I'm trying to be fine.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
tell me where in any of my
I'd like to be able to feel people's.
There's any misunderstanding.
Well,
there's a certain sense that I like feel people's speech patterns, that I feel what they're saying when I've got them both, like, you know, when I'm getting that verbal and that like visual feedback, and they're like lining up, right? I don't know.
Doing just that. What I'm saying is that what I'm trying to ask is that if your definition is that a gender equals what society understands you as,
and I just wasn't getting it.
Objective, and
I just wasn't getting it in one or the other debates, and you know, maybe it's because of my, you know, maybe it's a neurodivergent thing or something like that. But like, I kind of needed this to be able to really, you know, see this debate.
Okay, so then
good sync.
Okay,
I did amazing. Oh, thank you. Good sync. We like the sync.
How society interprets those social expressions and society's categorization of you based on those
There's more cues to work with. Exactly.
Objective.
Yeah.
So then, okay, so then continue.
Oh, Destiny wants her to switch her words from
gender
to something else.
The totality of your involuntary,
especially not subjectivity.
Like, it's not just a choice. It's not just something that people do. Every trans person can have this.
So wait, that was something that like Demon Mama recognized. Like Demon Mama was a little bit like, oh, I don't know about like calling that subjectivity. It seems like that you're connoting something, you're implying something. And Riley's just like, nope, that's not in the dictionary definition. That's definitely not in the denotation. So don't read that into there. And it's like, no, but it's absolutely in the connotation. Subjective has a connotation of being less valid, of being less reliable, as being less trustworthy as objective. So that makes sense that Destiny was, at least in that, steering her right. I hope Destiny didn't like awaken the darkness in her kingdom, in her heart or something, you know, didn't like Xehanort her.
So you can be non-binary, you can be literally any gender, all right? And as long as you have involuntary thought processes which motivate your choice to be your gender, then that's objective gender, all right? You are that person. You are that gender, subjectively. Sometimes objective and subjective gender conflict. Often this is the case for people who are experiencing dysphoria or who are in the closet, right? If you have a subjective understanding of gender, like if you believe yourself to be a woman, and yet society interprets your social expressions to treat you as a guy, you're probably going to experience gender dysphoria, right? That's often what it means to experience gender dysphoria, is that your understanding, your subjective understanding of your gender is different from how society is treating you, right? That doesn't make you less of a woman. That's acknowledging that society is not treating you in the way that you want them to interpret your expressions.
Okay, but you do realize that in your definition of gender, you use the word gender 2 times. So you said that gender is a totality of objective gender and subjective gender. So how can gender be defined?
Gender is, there's 2 types of gender.
Okay, so which one of those is true gender?
There's no. What do you mean? Which one of those is true gender? There's no.
If a woman if a woman is a gender,
she's trying to ask where are you getting your
to define what a gender is.
Yeah,
but you've now
so you've got these 2 parts of gender. So how are you getting your definition of what? Where's the definition of womanhood?
Objectively, you can define it subjectively. Those come from.
Okay, so then how would one person be a woman if there are 2, unless you're saying that there is not actually woman, but there is actually social woman and there is internal woman?
Like there's 2 different like ways to use woman. Like there's 2 different ways to define gender. So you're going to have 2 different ways to apply woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, you did a comic?
You realize that like that's you're saying that there are 2 different words that you use the same word for. Because if you define woman,
woman is a gender. There are 2 different types of gender.
Okay, so a woman is a gender.
Yes.
There are 2 types of gender.
Yes.
Okay, and
you can have objective woman and you can have subjective woman. Those are different.
Okay.
Okay.
So I get what Riley's going with this, at least.
Whether you're a woman or not.
They both can determine if you're a woman. So you can be a woman subjectively and you can be a woman objectively. Those are different things. They often overlap for a lot of people. Like if you're a passing trans woman, you probably they overlap for you. But those can be different.
I made a graph of the discussion to help people understand.
I want you to eliminate the idea of like which one of those is the true gender from your mind. They're both equivalent.
Oh my god, I love this. I love this.
Like
this
in
is
this
good.
case, this goes towards my argument, which is that.
What do you mean it goes towards your
Hold on. Well, let me explain real quick. Because if what you're saying is that there are two separate versions of the word woman,
yeah, ask him if do you like Star Wars? It's as simple as that. Do you like Star Wars?
In certain cases,
yes.
They're not completely different.
I mean,
Star Wars
fan.
fan.
Said that one is what your internal understanding of your gender is, and one is the external understanding of gender.
No, I didn't.
I do the same thing all the time, especially when I watch live streams with at least one participant streaming. So I'm not weird for like needing this. Okay, I felt like people were like, "You're a little bit obsessive about this," and I'm like, "No, I really feel like I haven't gotten."
My chat is saying you definitely.
I feel like I haven't really watched this yet.
I definitely didn't. I'll read it.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can. I want to make sure that we can get the. I want to make sure we can get across this.
You can pull up my research doc. I have it right there. I'm literally just reading from it.
That's fine. That's fine, Riley. Like, okay, there are two types.
Why are you talking down to me? You don't have to demean me.
I'm not talking down to you.
I'm literally trying to help you understand like a legitimate like.
Riley.
Why are you talking down to me? I'm trying to help you understand.
Right, like it is like what you are saying, like just identifying as a woman is a woman, like that is an infinite regress. There's no like buts about it. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, but like we recognize that like tautologies are like what you're describing is a tautology.
It's not like she never talks down to anybody.
I'm describing like math.
But
like this is like
she doesn't seem to be doing it here.
This is not like what do you mean I'm describing a tautology?
If anybody's talking down to anybody in this situation, it's the other way around, right?
Is not a tautology. Is that not correct? And the tautologies are not necessarily logically fallible. For example, A equals A. We recognize and acknowledge.
Demon Mama did get a little saucy earlier, okay? And she has a different way of expressing it. She doesn't like show perturbation, I guess. Speaking of perturbation, that made me think of percolation. Percolation.
Wait, hold on! Don't interrupt
which makes me think
I'm
wait.
Why are you? Hold on! Why are you interrupting me? I know what you're saying, and I can tell you why that's not an accurate representation of what you're saying.
All right. So.
Okay. Are you gonna let me explain this? All right?
No, I'm
when
not.
you define
not
what
right now.
something
I'm not, Riley.
Wait, well, hold on. What do you mean you're not?
No, I'm not, because I can tell where this is going. You're like. This has gotten to a point where like it's gotten like super intense really quickly, and now we're getting.
Not listening to me, Riley. Please, no. This is actually...
Riley. I have tried to talk.
Don't talk down to me. Why are you demeaning me about this?
I am not talking down to you, Riley.
This is like debating Vivian.
Right now,
Irene, why do you keep interrupting me?
No, fine. I'm gonna talk.
If I could just get a word in edgewise. It's like, yeah, then what, you'd hang yourself even?
Listen, do you think that I'm... Listen,
you'd make yourself look even... You'd make your argument look even worse? Like, that's exactly what happened, is I gave you a chance to talk.
Like, why are you getting so heated about this?
Riley, I didn't do that to you at all. I'm
hey, good night, Reza.
Remarkably calm. Because I
thank you, Reza. Thank you so much for that whisper.
I asked you if you were getting frustrated.
Thanks for giving me that link.
I will admit,
I am getting frustrated because you're a public figure, and if you make a bad argument, other people adopt your bad argument.
Okay.
So you are making the. This is why I said. So I was correct in saying you're making the Destiny argument.
Shinigami eyes, right there, folks. Do you see him? Do you see him?
You make an argument.
1, 2, Shinigami eyes.
Right now. You are being cringe, and as a representative, a public figure,
she's got them. She doesn't lie. She don't miss, chat. She don't miss. She don't miss.
Who is representing trans people by your own argument? Your cringiness right now.
Wait, hold on. Wait. How am I being cringe? By pointing out how you are being clearly logically inconsistent? How the fuck is that being cringe? I'm looking out for people to make sure that they don't make dumb fuck arguments and lead themselves into bad situations.
Do you see why?
Who's talking down to who? Who's talking down?
Riley.
Who's talking down?
No, don't wait, stop. I'm harming people when you are literally harming people and imputing me morally.
Riley, holy God. This is why I said that we should stop this, like a while ago, like a significant while ago.
You aren't even like giving any effort to listen to my argument.
Riley, you're literally shouting over me while I'm trying to say things multiple times.
You're not listening.
No.
You have not been able to incorporate anything that I've said so far. Not once. You literally are just like, oh, a logical regress. Oh, I just don't care about that. That just doesn't matter to me.
Okay, I've muted Riley.
This is my daily cup of piping hot tea. I am cackling
multiple times, just trying to get my point across. That I think this is getting intense. And I've tried to ask Riley to let me finish a sentence. Riley has not. I've now muted Riley.
Okay. So the one thing that you're not getting here is like what Riley's saying. Now, so I stick with. Okay, let me explain this. Chat.
Trying to question some of these positions, and it got increasingly intense. And when I noticed that and said, "Hey, like, if there's no need to make a comment here,"
so I went with Demon Mama's sound because it's frankly it's better. Like, they both have problems with their sound. Neither of their sounds are great, but like Demon Mama's was less cringe than Riley's this time. So I went with Demon Mama's sound, and because of it, you're not hearing what Riley's saying. That might actually be the nicest thing I could do to Riley, because I have a feeling, and I don't remember if I must have watched this part at some point, but I don't think she's gonna say things that make her look very good. So if anything, this is like, you know, this is in favor. You know, if there's any advantage that this is, you know what I mean. I to any degree to which Demon Mama is advantaged by getting to hear what she says during this break, I think Riley's getting an advantage from us not getting to hear what she's saying during this break. So.
And I've tried to alley finish that has.
Okay, right there, right there. No, right there. So I hope nobody thinks that I'm trying to wait. I'm not trying to put my, just so people understand, I am doing everything I can not to put my thumb on the scale, okay? I'm not trying to edit this in a way that's like deceptive or that like advantages one person over the other. Okay, so. Riley's thing, okay. Go and then we. God, I'm like learning to use this thing. I'm learning to edit, chat. I'm a pretty good video editor at this point, I think. Who would have thought? Like, look, this is the chick that, like, I've had a YouTube for forever, and I've never uploaded anything to it because, like, you know, I just couldn't be bothered to, like, you know, do all the little minutia of editing. But it turns out that, like, I kind of like the minutia. I don't know, chat. I kind of like it.
I've now muted Riley. Okay?
So we'll see Riley talking to her chat. Okay? We just won't hear her.
I was very
I mean, I guess I could put them both on. Oh, she's not saying anything.
Some of these positions, and it got increasingly
She's taking a moment.
Intense.
That's probably smart. That's probably smart. She is taking a moment.
No need
I'm so glad that we're not seeing her like yelling her head off at chat or something.
Comment here like that. We calmed it down a little bit. But this is a little bit weird, and I don't understand, and I don't know. And I answer no under you able to listen to the I did mock you. We
Okay, so what are we doing here? We are gonna go to crop and find. Is Riley over here, I think? Crop and then. Fuck, I hope I'm not fucking this up. Switch it to crop. God, I can't pull it along with. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, I got it. I got it. That's what I need to do. Okay, I was wondering. over here. And then I'll change it to crop and there. Okay, that's where we'll leave it. Are we still in crop? Yes, we are. Let me leave it right there. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is gonna be, let's watch that transition one more time. Oh god, does it change already? Did I fuck this up?
We calmed it down a little bit, but this is... We calmed...
This one's fucked up now. What the hell? Oh my god, chat. I hope I didn't... Yeah, this is fucked up. Oh my god! I just realized something. I think I just realized something. This is really fucking cringe. The editing software doesn't work the way that I thought it does. Every time that I'm moving the crop and stuff like that, it's like for the whole track. So I'm not just like, I thought I could chop it and then be like, okay, for this part, make it like this. For this part, make it like this. So that I could be like, okay, this part is what I want here. This one seems like it would be what you would do. Apparently it's not. I'll have to fucking go back and fix this, chat. I thought I had all my editing done. God fucking damn it. And also, fucking DaVinci, why do you make your shit like this? Why do you make your shit like this? Why can't it be intuitive? Like, this seems like it would be the way that it worked. You know, this would seem like the thing that you would do is, like, if you wanted to do this to, like, but I don't know, it's probably gonna make me do, like, a fusion layer or some bullshit like that. This is so dumb. This could be so much easier if you would just make your shit work the way that it seems like it would work. Fuck me.
Weird, and I don't understand why
I mean, it's gonna look good on the video. Like, it's fine for the video. You're gonna see just what you need for this video. But I wanted to put this video out for as like almost like a community service, you know, without any commentary on it, so people could just see like the two people doing their thing. But I don't know.
Right on my own show to control what I engage in. Okay. Now I agree.
Sorry,
there are
chat.
some differences.
Molding.
We might have different
A
definitions.
little bit of molding.
We might have different views on this issue. But that doesn't mean that you get to shout at me or shout down on me. That doesn't mean that you get to dictate what I do on my show. I'm on like hour 9 now of my show, okay?
I should never play reverse Demon Mama. That's hilarious. That is true. That is probably true.
I'm going to unmute and see if we can come to some peace
here. I loved
here,
Riley, but she has such an enormous ego, and like, what the fuck?
And it's not something that I want to do.
I have no idea how I feel about her now.
Riley.
Hi.
Hi. Okay.
So, I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to talk at this exact tone, and I want to just work this out. Okay?
Sure.
I care a lot about this.
That's fine. I do too.
Okay, then. Can you please do me a favor, and I will do the same to you?
Mm-hmm.
Do not impugn my morality.
I didn't.
All right, it certainly came across that you did. So
okay.
Please, even if you believe that you didn't, please do not.
Sure.
Wait. Okay. Oh God, she's just really mad. It's not making any sense. Even if you didn't believe, even if you believe that you didn't, please don't. Yeah.
So.
It's like if she believes that she didn't, then she's not going to recognize if she is doing it. So. Anyway.
About.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I agree, Billy.
Logical regress?
I agree.
So, do you acknowledge that
there also seems to be some dramatic destiny meddling in all this?
That.
Wait, do you mean you mean after the fact, right? Are you talking about like afterwards, or like are you saying like before? Are you suggesting that Destiny gave RGR advice on this before, or that this was like a... Like, this is... Okay, so, the chat, one of the reasons that I'm watching this is, like, that a thought occurred to me, and it's not anything that I know. It's not anything that I can, like, you know, have any degree of certainty on, but I just wanted to kind of watch it again, and, like... I wanted to make sure that this wasn't a situation where one or the other of these parties we're trying to cause a drama, that this isn't an engineered drama, because I just had this weird bad feeling at the back of my mind. At the time, I was thinking of Demon Mama, and it's specifically because of the way that Destiny has characterized her to me. And the way that he kind of like gets in your head with these theories of like, but what if she's really Machiavellian, my dude? And and it's like, oh my god, I don't know. What if she is? What if I'm stuck in this platform with a Machiavellian overlord demon mama? That sounds pretty scary, Chad. I don't want to have that happen. I swear to God, though, that's not the feeling I'm getting. I'm not feeling like if there's anybody who's pushing this conflict forward, it's not Emily. Or this is what it feels like right now, is what I'm saying. This is what it feels like right now. I'm not getting that vibe from Emily. Now, I'm not saying for sure I feel it from RGR either, and I wouldn't want to jump to that conclusion without, and honestly, it's pretty hard to fucking know what somebody's, got going on inside. But, like, I feel a little silly for listening to Destiny's characterization of Demon Mama now, because that's not what I'm getting from this. Not at all. Okay. Oh yeah, let me save this so I don't like...
That being a gender is identifying with that gender. Like, do you understand why that might come across as a problem to me?
Yeah, I can see where that could be a frustrating thing.
No, don't say frustrating.
Why is Destiny still loved at Twitch platform, but Vosh and Shadow banned forever? Oh no, Vosh is back. Vosh is back.
Do you understand
Vosh back?
Like the concept of what a infinite regress is?
Yo, after you insult after you accuse somebody of like talking down to you, like, I mean, do you understand the concept of X is probably not the language that I would use.
I mean, the idea that like...
Is there like projection? What is this?
That's just like a circular reasoning or something along those lines? And that's arbitrary?
Like, yeah, Destiny did lose partner. True.
Well, I mean, like, do you understand like what it is?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've got the idea of what you're saying. I mean, I'm not immediately familiar with like the...
I would just like to mention that RGR called Demon Mama bad faith after making an 1.5 hour long VOD about how the left uses bad faith too much. Oh, I didn't even see that. Wow.
Dictionary definition of the concept. If you'd like, I can look it up.
I haven't been watching.
Do you mind if we do that?
I haven't been watching RGR's stuff that much lately.
Do you want to provide me the definition you're using?
So yeah, we're 41 minutes into this debate. How long? I'm trying to remember. Is it like, it's like 2 hours or something? Oh my god. How long does this debate actually last?
All right, the first thing that came up was the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy.
Sure.
I'm looking at that. Are you looking at that?
No, but I'm listening to you, so...
Okay. It goes at least 2 hours, so we got like an hour and 20 minutes left.
An infinite regress.
Okay.
A series of appropriately related elements where a first member but no last member, with a first member but no last member, where each element leads to or generates the next.
Looks like, chat, I would say we're like 40% done with this. We're 40% through this debate. Damn.
To an infinite regress.
Fuck. I've got other stuff I want to cover too.
Form of objections to a theory, with the fact that a theory implies an infinite regress being taken to be objectionable. That was a lot. Do you want me to like explain what that means?
I mean, I think I've got the basic idea.
I think I know what she's saying, chat.
Sure. Right, well, do you mind if we just like walk through it?
Here, check me out, chat. Check me out. Make sure that I got this sense. Okay, so the infinite regress theory is what she's saying is that, like, if you want to define something, you can't use that thing in its own definition because it's, like, logically unsound. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, if a thing is a thing, then the thing is not a thing plus a thing, unless that thing that it's plus is nothing at all, right? Does that make sense? Is that kind of what Riley's saying? Do I have it? Do I understand? Am I competent? Are my axioms grounded? Am I not a bimbo, e-thought, fucking cosplay, fake debate analysis bitch? She's just mischaracterizing the argument. Oh, so I do have it. Okay, I'm not totally okay. My head's not completely full of like, you know, fucking like oohs and you still don't you still are don't worry. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Okay, so let's just take a basic formula. Let's say that x equals x plus y.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's the formula we've got.
Sure.
I think Demon Mama, like, I don't think that she's missing the concept, I guess.
Okay. So if we have that situation, or I guess we have to make it, let's make
Do
it
you,
y plus
chat,
x
is she missing the concept? I don't think she is.
All right, what that means is that if we have x equals y plus x, that means that necessarily
this is sort of what RGR is getting at.
Also equal y.
But you can
plus,
use
and because
a term in
x,
you can use a term in its own definition.
Y.
Fake bimbo ethought for Tinder bio. Thanks for that.
And then necessarily.
My cam is frozen. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Thanks for letting me know. So it's not frozen for me, but I bet I know how to unfreeze it. Is it unfrozen? Y. Is it better now?
Plus.
Did I unfreeze it?
Parentheses. Y.
Is that what changes it?
Plus.
I think I just have to be. It's good now. But it was frozen before, right, chat? Just confirming. The view of Emily and Riley in the debate was frozen for a second, right?
Sure. Okay. And then we go beyond there. I mean, I hope that you see where this is going.
Yeah. Okay. Just confirming. Just confirming. Hey, Nerdidity, how's it going?
Yeah, I get what you're talking about.
So now let's do some substitution.
Okay.
Woman.
But you do realize, though, that there is a significant difference between talking
about it could have helped
meaning and raw logic, right?
I mean, I do prefer like that kind of interaction where you're both looking at each other. I can see though what like I'm the same way as Demon Mama. Like I'd always rather not do it. If somebody's like, you know, if somebody is ever in my Discord and I'm like, do you want to be on camera? And they're like, I don't know. Then I'm just like, nope, not doing camera. You know what I mean? Because it's so much easier to not have to worry about that. But yeah, you're right. It does help.
This is logic.
Math is cursed. Like, I'm so lost.
Is logic.
Well,
I don't like formulating this, and I understand the point of turning things into formal logic to make sure you actually understand them. I understand the point of you know, because like, you know, you can word things in a million different ways, but formal logic, you know, if you have a phrase that's like x equals whatever, but it always is a stretch for me to agree with the formulation, I guess.
But
yes, so we're to define what a woman is or what a gender is. All right. So if we're going to say that woman equals.
I love math and logic, but this is a terrible application of it. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Plus woman.
A woman is a featherless biped.
So
yes.
Means that we have woman equals identification.
Oh man, chat! I wanted to play some guitar for you tonight too. I learned a song, chat. I learned a song. I'll play it for you sometime.
Woman.
Okay.
And then go on from there. Woman.
It's a little late. I don't want to piss off my roommates by playing guitar too late at night.
Plus.
It is Friday though.
No, I think this is. I don't think that this is an accurate representation of my claim.
No, when you say that,
when I say a woman is anyone who identifies as a woman.
Yes. It's a woman. Woman equals identification plus woman.
Yeah.
Woman has no intrinsic definition outside of being an identifier. That's what I'm saying.
But we know. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Demon Mama wasn't having trouble like understanding.
We have literature being able to say
like
what it is.
She knew it.
I disagree with that. I don't think that there's any other meaning.
Why?
I don't think that there's any other meaning besides.
No. All right. All right. You understand what an argument is, right?
Oh no, Riley.
So if you don't think it has any other meaning, what is your evidence that it has no other meaning?
Yeah, I can give you.
Woman equals gender times identity divided by introspection minus transphobia.
No person uses the same definition.
Oh my God, Riley!
At all. We all have.
I'm not talking about everyone using the same
chat.
definition.
Okay, but are you going to allow me? See now. Now here's what's happened now. Now
I'm trying. Hey, did I?
Okay, I actually I know I let's have this conversation another time.
I know, right? Second time.
No,
second time.
No, like
isn't this the second time that she's?
Why are you raising your voice?
No, Riley, you have literally
I'm
not.
being as reasonable. No, I want.
What is this shit? Did she go to the Vivian School of fucking debate? Did she go to the fucking Vivian School of debate? Listen, if you're gonna do the Vivian thing, you need to learn how to manipulate an impressionable chat as well.
Literally stepped in and interrupted me, and if you go back and you watch this segment back, you will see that I have literally not finished a sentence without you butting in and saying I can't to do something. I'm trying to explain my concept of gender. And that doesn't seem to be capable in this conversation. And what it feels like is that now I'm being held hostage in a conversation that I don't really feel super comfortable with, because...
Why don't you feel comfortable? I'm trying, like, how is my tone? Please tell me how my tone is bad.
Like, Emily is probably... Wait, actually, no. Let me look at it. Let me look at the voice print.
And I could be wrong here.
I think that Emily's probably a little bit louder than Riley.
There is...
But that's just...
rippling
random
under
Discord
the surface of your words.
Shit, it's hard to. I hardly ever get people matched.
There were unspoken
decibel wise. I try to. I can sometimes tell afterwards.
I mean, like,
and I recognize that's a read.
They don't look like they're that far off though. If Demon Mama's turned up, it's not by much.
That's the case.
And she's definitely not yelling.
Are throwing
she's definitely not yelling.
Say that this is a
and neither was I, except for when I yelled about Prime and Dylan. That was yelling. That was proper yelling, as Viv said correctly.
Hoping to engage.
But the other time, I was speaking in a really calm voice, and Vivian was just salty about getting fucking clapped in an argument that she hadn't put a lot of thought into.
Because you took objection.
Because it was self-evident that, like, this person that she fucking hates must be a piece of shit, right?
But
that's
I don't think
how you lose an argument, Viv. That's how you lose an argument.
First of all, we haven't decided who's wrong yet because we haven't had the conversation. And
I'm trying to have the conversation.
Well, interestingly, as in the process of trying to have this conversation, I don't feel like I am able to actually engage properly because I've been interrupted a lot of times, a significant amount.
You have to whisper at all times when dunking, or it's very bad faith. True. True.
Conversation, yes, I do agree with you, hopeful, that conversations are a two-way street.
Yeah, now, I feel you, OG.
What I am saying is that I don't
Wait, what's the deal with the Reddit thing?
Most people...
She convinced the whole Reddit community onto her side. Are you, ODWM, are you talking about Riley?
I don't think that gender has a consistent definition. It is a completely and
the
utterly
School of Woke Skull personality just... Oh, no.
Personally,
oh, God. That was so bad.
On gender. In fact, I'm a gender abolitionist. I believe that in the long run, we will probably never use gender in the long run. No, that's probably going to take...
Look, Vivian's all right. She just has like she just like goes kind of gaga when she... There's certain creators that she just has an irrational hatred.
Take a while for us to get there. The reason why I believe that is because I don't believe...
You're banned from Xanderhal's chat? Or something similar?
Easily suss out a objective definition.
I thought Viv's trolling of Zan's chat was hilarious.
Trying to
I actually thought it was funny too, but then when I looked at what she actually said, I was kind of like embarrassed that I laughed at it.
Do so leads to some very troubling societal outcomes. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think that
I did too, some internet chick, but apparently I didn't even know her.
There is that trans people have a valid complaint.
And also, you shouldn't decide who wins arguments based on who you like, forehead.
When they say, or when the words that they are using, I think that we
like unironic forehead.
Limited. Most trans people, I think, are limited by our linguistics. That we only have so many words to use. We only have certain...
Like, we gotta pull our heads out of our parasocial asses here and start, like, actually, you know what I mean?
Idle understandings. And so we say, you know, I'm a woman, or whatever. I don't think that... Like, I think that is how we identify.
Prime Kai is a good guy, too. That doesn't mean that him, like, not listening to women, telling him that his producer is being inappropriate to them is okay, right? Can we agree on that? That doesn't just because somebody's a good person, just because we like somebody, doesn't, like, fucking... It's not the immunity idol.
Identify how we wish to express ourselves, but that doesn't really
I fucking like Riley, you know, like if I used that, it's like, oh yeah, well I guess Riley didn't do anything that bad. It's like I'd be fucking going to this blind.
That there's any
and sometimes good people make mistakes, including myself, chat.
Meaning to being a woman. It is what a woman is. What is a collection of
what happened with Prime.
Chaotic.
Holy shit, so much shit. That's a whole nother drama. I'm trying to get Aiko and Danavo or somebody to come on and talk about this, but who fucking knows?
Factors
who
that
fucking knows?
Nobody agrees on.
Can somebody update those who don't know in chat about the whole Prime thing? It's a fucking shit show. It's really bad. Like however bad you think it is, it's worse.
Beyond what a woman is. And in fact, you
like I keep it like it started out like as like, well, you know, maybe the producer was getting some money for putting people on the panel, you know, but it's okay because it was just $5 a month on Patreon, you know. It could have been, maybe he didn't realize it was a conflict of interest, whatever, right? And then it just like gets worse and worse from that. You know, the fact that I let Prime know a month ago that he had a problem on his panels with representation, and when a woman was on his panels, he had a tendency to shut her the fuck up way before he would do that with any of the male guests. I fucking let the dude know that, and he told me thank you very much for your, you know, help, but whatever, and fucking blacklisted me from his damn show. That was his solution, right? There's so much wrong with Prime, and he won't fucking listen to anybody. He wouldn't listen to me. He wouldn't listen to Catherine. He won't listen to the Amazon lilies. That fucking motherfucker thinks he knows everything, and he's keeping that fucking producer after all this shit. He's keeping that fucking...
alluded to this previously in our discussion.
It's bad, so, Chad. It's bad.
The reason why
oh my god, well now this is in the video. Hey YouTube, how's it going? Make sure to like and subscribe. Sorry for changing the subject on you. We're really talking about Riley and Demon Mama here, but you know, if you want to find out more about the Prime Kai drama, check out my Twitch channel, and I'll try to bring you some of that on YouTube too, so don't worry.
But perfectly fine.
I like to spread the drama around, Chad. I like to spread the drama.
Anybody who
YouTube likes drama too. Thank you, Shane Brain 420. Thank you for the follow.
For all intents and purposes, a woman is because it is
as far as I know, yeah, as far as I know, unless somebody wants to update me and tell me he's changed his mind, he's keeping the fucking producer.
It is not an objective.
Why would I do that? OWM? What do you think? You think I'm like, you know, try to kiss Prime's ass here? No, fuck that. That train's left the station. That motherfucker blacklisted me. I don't give a fuck.
Term. There is no specific thing that any one person is referring to, but a loose collection of traits which aren't consistent from person to person. And
yo, fuck him if he won't listen. Fuck him.
As a result, I don't think that we should hold these things to particularly strong.
And I'm so tired of people like escaping any fucking shade that they absolutely deserve just because they've got power in the Twitch scene, just because people want to be on Prime's panel. I would say it's not fucking worth it, especially when the motherfucker has sold his soul to Doobie. Damn, I really need to cut this part out.
Standards.
I'll shut up, Chet. I'll shut up.
Disagree very strongly with your previous
I'll try to shut
allegation that this somehow leads to an attack helicopter argument, which I do not believe is the case.
Hey Castle, how's it going? Good to see you. Long time.
I think that there is risk in the opposite of attempting to.
Were you over on Demon Mamas during this thing? I think I saw you in chat. No drama, chick. Exactly.
Because I don't think that anybody really has a single concept of gender in there.
Yo, I wish it was on Twitter. Some internet chick. Listen, just look at Danavo's thread. Look at Danavo's account. Danavo's got a thread on it. He's got a couple clips that'll kind of orient you to what's going on. But there's not much on Twitter because guess why? People are fucking cowards. People are fucking cowards, and everybody's afraid to take on somebody with clout. Well, guess what? I'm not afraid. It's not fucking worth it to be on that dipshit panel with a bunch of rightoids that I'm not allowed to actually blow up even when they post cringe because Prime's too worried that one of those right-wingers is gonna like not want to go back on his show and then he won't have a seat for that one, right? Fuck that.
I understand your argument.
Dylan's is more fun anyway. There, I said it.
Can I respond then?
Sure.
Some things? Sure. I will try to build a bridge, but I also have meaningful concerns to address. Okay. So you said that the reason that you think that anyone who uses the term woman is a woman is because it's non-term. There's no specific thing people
that's a good joke, 1,000 lifetimes. That's a really good joke.
Referring to, and that they're
really good joke. Yeah,
a series of traits that varies.
That'd be pretty wacky. That'd be pretty wacky.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Okay.
A nationalist. Actually, Yubi is a nationalist authoritarian.
When I say objective. What I'm
I gotta win that belt. Yeah, absolutely. That belt belongs to me. That belt belongs to me.
Of like not like a single solid checklist that you must meet all of these things in order to be woman.
Yeah, you do. That's the fucked up thing about Danabo. As much as Danabo fucking trolls and shit, as much as Danabo is like, you can't tell what the fuck he's like, you know, what does he really mean and stuff. Like, he is actually the only one doing the right thing here.
Too. And I'll say it one more time because this seems to indicate
the other Danabo drama. What's the other with Aiko?
I'm referring to
over Kobe. I am guessing he's wrong about that. If he's taking the Mayo 6 line on that Kobe shit, fuck that.
Average person in society.
I'm on team Aiko on that, right? And I don't always agree with Aiko. I've seen Aiko go too far, but I don't think she's wrong here.
And we're constructing a hypothetical average person. Okay. And when we're saying society, we are taking a...
Oh yeah, CTV's on again. Dylan, you gotta stop building these motherfuckers' careers. CTV doesn't deserve a career. CTV deserves to like fuck it the view from like his fucking front lawn face down, dude. That's what he deserves.
Either larger society.
I'm saying like if he drank too much and he passed out, chat, not anything else.
Culture. We are taking a group of people like
he doesn't quite make it in the door in this scenario. He gets drunk and doesn't quite make it home. Ends up face down in the yard.
Average person
completely because of the alcohol. No other reason. No other sad events befell him on his way home. Chat. It was just the alcohol. I swear to God. I swear to God, it was just the alcohol.
That person would define as being sufficient or being identified.
It didn't have anything to do with him talking shit about FTMs and how they would never be able to match men in fighting sports. It didn't have anything to do with that. Chat.
A woman, and then we look at the average of what all people in that group define to be that category at a given time, which can change over time, which can change over cultures. And that's what we would generally take to define as a certain gender. Gender can be anything. You could have people construct genders that are entirely different from men and women.
Hey, since we're talking about that Kobe bullshit, let's go ahead. I feel pretty good. I don't usually like give random shout outs or like I don't usually take too kindly. We don't take too kindly to advertising around these parts here, but universal discourse is pretty good. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on some issues that Kobe's not so great on, so...
As long as it is what is broadly defined within a group to exist at a given time, based on a series of qualities that the group has, then gender. So I'm not sure if I necessarily disagree.
And chat, universal discourse has criticized me before. I feel like that criticism was made in exceptionally good faith. I don't entirely agree with it, but I'm not gonna hold back a shout out over something like that. Like I like people that criticize me in good faith. I think they keep me strong.
The thing that I do seriously, and this is like
who got banned by Kobe? I have no idea. Kobe banned people? What are we talking about? In what?
Identifying as a gender.
Was Kobe on the fucking hippy dippy tonight? Please don't tell me Kobe was on the hippy dippy.
Identifying with a quality makes you a quality.
Yeah. It's bad enough.
How then? Like
it's bad enough that Irene wasn't on the hippy dippy, but if you're telling me that Kobe was, that's fucking cursed.
Said that this isn't the attack helicopter,
right?
But like, why is that? Like, if you say
J100 got banned for the anti-Semitic hippy dippy did not happen. What?
Just identifying as something
is Dylan all right?
Makes you that thing. Then the problem with me with
what the fuck? That sounds like wait, who's Burke again? Who's John Burke? I'm trying. Oh yeah, the right wing. So he's shoring up instead of doing hippy dippy, he's shoring up his relationships with the right wingers that he apparently needs. Dude, here's the thing. you got to have more right-wingers. You got to have a stable full of right-wingers so that they know that if any of them post cringe, if any of them are pieces of shit, that you can go to somebody else, right? That you're not dependent on Connor. You're not dependent on CTV. You're not dependent on the Turk or Last Username or anybody else to like fucking have that seat filled. Like, right? I don't know. It's easier said than done, Dylan. And I know I'm talking a lot of shit and it's probably really annoying since I don't know exactly what's on your plate and what else you got to deal with. But yeah, it's just my advice. Take it or leave it.
Why don't give like small like asides? I stayed quiet.
No, I was literally just
gotta
stating that I think you've got something wrong in my argument.
Okay, well then let me finish the statement, and then you. Well, let me finish. Okay.
Binder's full of those right wingers. Hell yeah.
So, if all that's required to identify with to be a gender is to identify with it, that seems to be a problem because.
Wait, is Kurt still Prime's producer though? I don't know that Prime has said anything. In fact, the last I checked, Prime was fucking intransigent about all this bullshit. That's his whole thing. It's just like, yep, nope, I don't fucking care.
You need to be something else, whatever that other thing is, something else, or else people could identify as anything.
I love the fucking idea that this video might blow up because of Riley and Demon Mama and this drama, and that like Prime people might find out about the Prime shit because of it. I fucking love that
thing, and they would be
look it up. People check out Danabo's Twitter.
That is what is very troubling.
Watch those clips. See what you think.
In my opinion, there has to be something else.
Do your own research. No. You gotta do your own research, chat. That's all I'm saying. Do your own research.
To distinguish self-identification as gender.
Do your own research.
Other things. Does that make sense?
Google Q.
But I don't think that you're categorizing my understanding of gender correctly, because I don't believe. Well, that's fine.
Just tell me why.
The idea that that identifying something as an attack helicopter. I don't know, like this is a pretty significant difference between something like gender, which in my opinion can only exist among sentient beings as a part of a social
just Prime though. Every stream that CTV and the right reps
versus
have been in
which is not a sentient object
through his contact with Kurt
and can therefore only
so this is way bigger than Prime. True.
Can only be treated as objective. You don't get to decide who's a.
I relinquished the services of Mr. TD Kurt.
Woman. You do get to decide what is or what isn't an attack helicopter because an attack
show host
is not an agent. See, yeah, this is a.
And it was specifically because he was so close to Prime. Like I didn't feel like
countering as a link.
I felt like there was a conflict of interest there.
Well, all right, then I'll change the attack helicopter. All right.
Well,
I'll use a different example.
Sure. Pick another example. And
let's say if someone self-identifies.
I need to pay more attention, chat. I'm checking out a little bit. Let me have some more caffeine and see if that keeps me on track.
They believe genuinely that they are Jesus.
I love fucking coffee. It's so good, chat. I love coffee.
From the grave, that they are literally Jesus Christ of Nazareth. They identify with that. They believe themselves to be that. Are they Jesus Christ?
Are they Jesus Christ?
Are they the literal Jesus Christ? We're not talking about like some self. We're talking about like literally Jesus Christ from the Bible.
No, because Jesus Christ of the Bible is an object.
Wait, hold on.
Jesus Christ of the Jesus Christ of the Bible is an object. Linguistically, Jesus Christ does not exist.
Okay.
At all.
So let me see if I got Riley right here.
Jesus Christ as.
Let me see if I'm taking her. So she's saying that the reason that she's using Jesus Christ as an example is that we all know, we all can pretty much agree that, like, if somebody says they're Jesus Christ, 2,000 years after the dude supposedly lived, right? Unless you're super religious, which, Riley assumes that we're not, and Riley assumes correctly, with me, Demon Mama, and her. I don't know about the rest of you, chat. Maybe you're some of you are religious, but that most people in the audience aren't going to be religious, and therefore the proposition that a person might be Jesus Christ is absurd on its face. So therefore, Riley is saying, can a person assert anything that they want? Riley is unironically telling us that Dresco Spinny validates a trans woman, or you know, I'm trans because I'm a woman because I say I am, that opens the door for like wildness. And does she mention, it goes to otherkin, doesn't it? It goes from Jesus Christ, it goes to otherkin. It's like, okay, if you're hanging up on the Jesus Christ, what about an otherkin? They say they're like a wild raptor or a hippo, like what do you call those things? Those magical beasts that fly in the air, that they have wings and wait, they have like lion paws and they like have a bird head. A griffin, yeah, like a griffin. God, Chad, I couldn't remember what it was called.
Object as the historical figure that we understand and can identify.
Hippogriff, yeah, that's another one. That's another one.
So, an individual.
What's up, Dan Bullion?
Okay, so then let me.
Yes, how you doing?
We're talking. Yeah,
furries and otherkins. Yeah,
you're jumping from something.
Dude, like piss off the furries at your own risk. Seriously.
That is an identifier.
People don't even realize, like, because furries don't always like tell you that they're, you know, like you know more furries than you realize, right? So when you're talking shit about furries, and even if you think you're just like it's just jokes and memes and shit, you're probably posting more cringe than you realize. You probably are. And furries get enough shit as it is. Furries are cool people.
Like, for example, I am a woman, which I think is a very, very, even
I want to be accepted and feel a part of something.
Incredibly difficult thing to define furry again. Because there's no consistency across time and space. Not at all.
I didn't say that.
Christian in the spiritual sense, not at all religious. Okay. Too authoritarian. Yeah, I feel that.
Elaboration.
If tomorrow
love for all furries, yes, love, respect,
is Jesus of Nazareth.
Love and respect to our furry brethren.
I'm going to say, do you mean that's your, like, are you named after the person, or like
Gif in heaven?
Jesus motherfucking Christ.
Well,
Gif in heaven, friends.
Right?
Gif in heaven.
Because a name is something that you can declare. I can tell you my name.
I had to bring out back that spicy meme, but just the wholesome version of it, chat. Just the wholesome version.
What's that?
We're talking about someone who identifies as the person, not just with.
I grew up with that shit.
To be Jesus of Nazareth.
Yes, but they are making a
dab on the furries at your own peril.
They're making a claim about an object.
Yes, helpful life advice. Exactly.
Jesus Christ of the Bible, and we can go. Wait, hold on a second. Because when you think of Jesus in your mind, we have a specific person, structure, time, place.
It's like, even if you don't understand what the fuck furry is about, like, there's this concept called letting people enjoy things, right?
Set of features that define
it's a good principle to have.
Object, right?
Okay. When in doubt, let people enjoy things.
Jesus Christ didn't declare himself as Jesus Christ of the Bible of Nazareth. He lived a life, and now he's been written down in books, and we have codified what defines Jesus Christ of the Bible, and that's how we identify Jesus Christ of the Bible. So someone else who doesn't.
Bronze Age Chad, why do you want to be mean, Uwu? Why do you want to be mean? Do you think that it makes us think that you're cool or something? Or like, what are you getting out of it? I'm just trying to figure out. What does it do for you? Being mean. How does it help you? I'm asking seriously. I want to know. What are you getting out of this, Bronze Age Chad? What are you getting? What are you here for? What is this about? Who are you, Bronze Age Chad? Who are you on a deep level? What kind of otherkin magical beast is hiding within your spirit that you are afraid to unleash?
Match the object.
If this stuff triggers you, maybe there's a reason
that we've constructed linguistically.
I'm just saying, maybe.
We can say, well, no, you're not, because we know that Jesus Christ of the Bible is defined as these things. But if somebody says,
so does it pause when I do this? Is it pausing for you?
You can't really
tell them. Is the screen like freezing?
Because you get to define what your name is. That is how names work. You get,
type K if the screen is frozen for you, not frozen. You can still see it. It's still moving.
Silly.
Okay, cool.
I believe the same thing about gender.
All right, let me know.
Yeah.
Let me know if it freezes for you, okay?
A different example.
Sure.
All right, because I mean, like,
because sometimes I don't
seems to
see
be,
it.
like,
Sometimes it only freezes for you. I don't know.
Now we seem to be
Not frozen at all.
indirectly defining
Wait, Kay,
what a
it is
gender
frozen for
beyond
OG
just
Chillum
identifying as
or
something.
OG Chillums.
Because if you apparently, like,
Okay,
now we have moved
some
beyond,
people
so
it freezes for. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this. This is probably better. Is it better now?
Historical person.
Did it really freeze for people? Did it really freeze for people?
Identifying as the president.
Did anybody have it really freeze for them?
The president of the United States. Is this not a person or a social category?
It was frozen for you.
I mean, I would agree that it's a.
Oh well, it doesn't really matter. I can watch it either way.
I mean, okay, we can go all the way through to say all things are ultimately social categorizations because that's how language works. But if we're not going to go that far, making a statement, a claim of I am the president of the United States.
Okay, I gotta focus.
We can check that more against the linguistic object, the president of the United States, and go, well, they don't meet the category. They don't meet the category that we decide collectively is the president.
Do you see Riley doing the destiny thing?
Okay.
I mean, you could say that.
Maybe she has been coached.
That would not be taken seriously.
Maybe she has been coached.
The object
maybe
that we have constructed as the president.
Maybe much like Xehanort and Ventus, Destiny was not able to find the proper expression of darkness in my heart, and so he had to move on to Riley and try to corrupt Riley.
The United States
to much greater success.
Definition. Like, in order to be the president of the United States, you need to have done such and such things. There's a whole bunch of rules that we use to define who the president of the United States is. In fact, we have a whole lot of rules for that, specifically
Destiny
to avoid things like what would happen in medieval times. Which is,
she wanted to end this. Demon Mama wanted to end this a long time ago, and like, I mean, Riley has kind of calmed down. It seems like I haven't actually. I checked out a little bit. Let me check back in.
You know, there's a legitimacy crisis because how you define who the king is isn't necessarily clear. We have a very clear definition of who the president is so that people can easily identify what the president is. But gender is not the presidency.
He got to her.
Okay. So, all right.
History never repeats itself, but it rhymes.
So there's a couple things there.
Sure.
So first, I want to hold on to idea. So you
a long time ago
that someone who says that they are the president, who is not
yes,
the president, is
yes, I love it. I love it, chat. That's beautiful. I love that.
Like, if someone,
That's so
if I were
good.
to say right now, I'm the president of the United States, you would say, I am wrong. By that criteria.
Objectively wrong.
Yes, because being the president is not a self-identification.
Okay,
yeah,
let me ask you,
there's a difference there. Being a president is all here. This is why, like, this is a great example, okay? Because being the president is all about what Riley would call objective presidency, right? It's all about what other people perceive, your legitimacy, right? Established through a system that's set in place that follows certain sets of rules, and as long as those are adhered to and you fulfill the requirements, which is like, you know, getting the majority or in some cases plurality of the vote, you are then the president, you know, assuming that like no fucking mob comes in and hogties everyone and like executes the government, you know, you before you can get there. Yeah, you're president, right? That's how that works. It's legitimacy. It's external. It's all about the external. It doesn't matter at all if you think you're the president, right? If Joe Biden wakes up tomorrow and is like, I don't want to be the president. I'm not the president. I'm not the president. He can't fucking pray the presidency away. He's the president. He can't fucking help it, right? If Donald Trump wakes up tomorrow and he's like, I want to be the president. I want to be president. I'm president. I'm president. I'm president. He prays. It doesn't fucking matter. He's not president. It's all about external validation, whereas being trans is all being a woman, being, you know, any of these things that the identity that we're talking about. This is the opposite. It's all internal. So yeah, like that's why the fucking the thought experiment does not apply. Does not have standing.
Of the United States.
And let me ask you this: can a trans person?
God, emulating cringe whining behavior. People get better role models.
Okay.
True.
Question.
Sure.
True. Let's say that we have
I wonder why Vosh is like staying out of it though. Do you know what I mean? Like it's almost like, is he? I don't know. I just don't like. I don't know. I don't like. I mean, Demon Mom is a tough girl. She can take care of herself. I'm not trying to like, you know, diminish that or anything. I would rather, if Destiny is against her, I would rather Vosh be like unabashedly for her, right? To balance that.
It was pre-transition.
I worry about people.
Know that they are trans. They self-identify as a man.
Okay.
Too much of a fan of Destiny.
No.
Doesn't want to get bombed by Destiny simps again. God damn it, dude.
Because that is their understanding.
I mean, fuck, dude. Like, there's stuff I like about Destiny. I honestly like him as a person. He's actually kind of cool. He's like, you know, he's a chill guy or whatever, right? But like, he's wrong a lot.
Gender at the time, and their right.
When he's wrong, I tell him I think he appreciates that. I hope he appreciates that.
Now, I lived my life.
I think Bosch did mention that he can't really deal with any more shit from Destiny's community. Okay, well we've got a little bit of something to watch from Bosch after this.
Incredibly limited in how we talk about these things because obviously I transitioned and I do identify with the term woman and with pronouns she, her, and with femme aesthetics in general. I don't believe that it is very easy for us to talk about these things because we don't have very good rules about them. And so my argument is that with regard to gender, functionally in our society, gender is incredibly abstract. It's very, very personal.
I'm going to need to pee because of all this coffee that I'm drinking. At some point, I'm going to have to go pee.
To identify
I just don't want to.
Whatever
I don't want to like
pronouns they so please.
I don't want to Rex you for like too long.
Can acknowledge.
I'll try to come right back.
Is highly, highly abstract. There are no set rules for it. Nobody agrees on the rules for it. Therefore, we may as well treat it as an identifier. And if people want to pursue HRT, we should also allow them to do that for a separate reason.
This isn't. I mean, this is all great. I understand this. There's a problem at the beginning.
Wait, is Demon? You really think that Demon Mama's gonna like go? Wow. Do you think that Demon Mama's gonna react to her own does anybody know what form it's gonna take? Is she just gonna do? Is she gonna do like a? Is she gonna talk about it, or is she gonna react to this video?
There's a problem early on.
Okay.
So, the person. I want to return to.
Okay, chat. I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna go pee real quick. I'll be right back.
This person. Pre-transition trans woman, self-identifies as a man.
Yep.
So that person to you is a man. I'm asking this because there's more I want to elaborate on.
To me, that person is a man?
That person is a man.
If they tell me they're a man, then sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then the follow-up question is being trans just a personal choice?
I mean, I feel like that's the wording there is a little bit like...
No, I mean, like, that's the natural... Because, I mean, I gave you the facts to be able to say that person is intrinsically trans.
It's a personal choice in the same way that choosing to come out as gay is a personal choice.
But why are they trans?
But the thing is, like, being... Well, wait, why are they trans?
I need a very specific answer to this question. This is the most important question of all this.
Sure.
Why... Like, is being trans a personal choice? Yes or no?
Is being trans? Depends on what you mean by being trans.
All right, then in any way that you choose to
wait. Well, here's another question. Do you believe that non-binary people are trans?
No. Do not ask. And yes, I do. But no,
why?
I need you to answer. Yeah, because I have a consistent definition. Do not change the subject. Do not pivot away. I need you to answer.
You don't
this
get
question.
to. Excuse me.
No.
Don't
I asked
do
you
that.
The question. No, I asked you the question. I need you just answer this question. All right, I asked you.
Are you trying to angle for like a gotcha here or something?
No, I'm not. This is just very important. Is being
Why
trans,
is it important?
And you can answer it however you want.
No,
you can answer
Riley,
however you want. I'm not trying to pin you in a box. I'm not trying to do anything bad. I just need you to answer this one question. Is being trans a choice? You can answer it however you want. I'm not trying to pin you in a box. Do whatever you want with that. Just give me like at least somewhere in your answer, yes or no.
Is being trans a choice? If you mean But when you say by being trans, if you mean the state of leaving the gender that you were assigned at birth and changing to another one, no. It's a choice to pursue that, yes, but in being that, no. That is not a choice. You are who you are, just like you don't have a choice in being human, or you don't have a choice in being what personality you are. Now, the steps that you choose to take in affirming or in realizing your transness, those are choices, of course, and
yes, I'm with you.
Sure, and they are things that I think can be incredibly beneficial. But I think that the idea of being trans is not really like that's. I feel like there's like a linguistic problem in that sentence.
But I mean, like, we agree. Like, yeah, like I can agree with you. Like all the choices that someone makes, like all or like all of the choices of how to pursue transition or how to present yourself, like, yeah, those are all choices. But like being trans in and of itself is not just a choice, right? Like that's what you said. Like just the fact, like the state of being something which is contrary to what was assigned to you at birth, right?
No, I don't think that would be a matter of choice. No. Like I don't think you have any choice over whether you are but that's also how we define transness, right? Because we define being trans as a thing, and so I would argue that you don't have a choice in being trans. If you find out one day, oh, I'm not happy living as the gender and being perceived as the gender that I was assigned at birth, you don't have a choice in that. You are trans there. So no, I don't think that's a choice.
I just want to take this. So we agree that there is something more to being trans than just the choice of saying, actually, here, I'll paint it another way. So let's say that we have someone, let's say that we have another hypothetical person.
Okay.
Who does not have those internal mental processes, whatever they are, but does not feel that same need to identify as something that was contrary to what they were assigned at birth. Okay? Can you imagine, like, are we on the same, like, we can imagine this person.
You're saying that someone who doesn't have dysphoria or something?
Basically, or whatever we want to define these mental processes as. We can just label them arbitrarily. We'll call them X, mental processes X.
Well, I mean, I would argue that it's incredibly hard on a philosophical level to litigate dysphoria.
No, I'm not trying to litigate dysphoria.
You kind of are in a certain sense, and the reason why I would say that is that, like, while I could say that, well, surely, like, somebody who's non-binary doesn't, maybe, a non-binary person who doesn't choose to pursue surgery or HRT might not have dysphoria in the same way that we would categorize as like clinical dysphoria, but something nonetheless motivated them to no longer identify with the gender that they were assigned, right?
Right.
Which
I agree.
May be a form of dysphoria. Like, I mean, it just depends. It may not meet the criteria of dysphoria, but I don't think that dysphoria is necessary for someone to be or clinical dysphoria is necessary for someone to be trans.
No, I agree. I completely agree. I agree with all that. I don't want to, like, I agree with everything that you just said.
Okay.
I agree that someone doesn't need dysphoria to be trans. I just want to imagine, like, we have to explore this because this is kind of, you're wondering why I was heated earlier. This is the reason why. Okay. So I just want you to just give me your word right now that you'll just hold on to me for a little bit more. All right. It's very important to me. I care about you. All right. I genuinely want us to reach somewhere.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's imagine. So we already established that, like, trans people generally have some mental processes which motivate them to identify with a gender that is contrary to what they were assigned at birth, and that is not a choice, right? We've already, like, that, whatever those mental processes are, not necessarily dysphoria, but whatever those are, we just know that those exist, right?
Yep, something exists that motivates them. Yep.
Okay. Let's say that we have a person who does not have those mental processes, all right? And let's say that person, let's say that they were assigned male at birth, and that they make the statement, I am a woman, is that person a woman?
Yeah. Yep.
Here's the follow-up question then.
Sure.
Okay. So, does that mean that person, let's say that person, let's elaborate more on this person. So I was hoping for a bit of a budge there, but okay.
Why would I budge on that? I haven't. Okay, go ahead.
Well, here, all right. No, I had to think of another question. So here's the follow-up question. Let's say that person internally identifies as a man.
Okay.
They have none of the mental processes which motivate someone that we already talked about to be trans.
Okay.
Does that mean that person, if they say that they are a woman, is wrong?
You mean if they're like lying about their own self-identity?
Yes.
Well, they would be lying about it. So
but does that mean that they are wrong?
If they are acknowledging with their own self-identity that they are lying about their self-identity, then by definition, yes, because they don't actually believe that they are a woman. They are declaring that despite their own knowledge that it is not the case. So that would mean they are wrong, them personally, on this particular situation, because we've come up with a hypothetical in which somebody knows that they're not a woman, they knows that they're not, that they don't identify with that term at all whatsoever, and they're just saying it just because. So, yeah, sure. But I think that's, I don't think that there's any way that you could ever, that would ever be relevant in any social aspect whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then let's change around the hypothetical.
Okay.
Let's say that instead of this person not having those qualities, let's say that they do.
Okay. So they experience dysphoria?
No, not necessarily. Whatever the mental processes are that motivate someone to identify as trans. Like the ones that we talked about earlier.
Oh,
like
okay. So we're going to call this non-clinical dysphoria, subclinical dysphoria, whatever. Just dysphoria as a general.
I wouldn't call it dysphoria, just because the literature
discomfort.
doesn't...
Then let's put it that way. Discomfort or desire to not be their core, their assigned gender.
Sure.
Okay. So somebody has the desire to not be their assigned gender.
Okay. And let's say that person says, so let's say that this is like an AMAP person. They're internally, they believe themselves to be a woman. They want to be a woman. They are closeted.
Sure.
They say that they are a man. Are they a man? Or are they wrong about their gender?
Well, they're not. I mean, I think that using the term like, are they wrong is kind of is a little bit leading here. I would say they are lying. Yes, they are lying. But there's a purpose for that, right? Because if they're closeted, they're trying to keep it a secret because there might be social repercussions. They know they're lying. They're just lying for a reason.
Sure.
Right. So I don't think they would be wrong. That implies that sort of wording implies, in my opinion, like, I don't know, like that they're flawed.
If they say that
they're lying for a reason.
All right. If they say that they are a man, that is not representative of who they are.
That's correct, because they are lying. We know this. This is the same. Yeah. There's no. Yeah.
Okay.
You've stated that they're lying. They're not telling the truth about what they actually identify with. So, would they be wrong about themselves? I mean, you could put it like that. I don't think it's. I think they know who they are, and they're lying tactically. And I think that there's, we could talk about that, but for the purposes of this, I don't think it's. I don't think the wording is. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So if that person expresses to other people that they're a man, like, let's just be clear then.
Okay.
So there's more to being a gender. I think, like, I'm really trying to make this leap here. There's something more to being a gender than just saying that you are a gender.
Well, okay. I mean, I would say that then just saying it, but I don't know if that was the exact wording I used at the beginning, but that was, I assumed that you understood that means, like, honestly saying that. If you're saying something, vocalizing something that you honestly believe. So yes,
okay.
If we're going to say, like, obviously it's not literally saying the words that makes you that thing necessarily, but it is identifying with it. It is deciding in your mind that I am this thing that makes you that thing.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
And we can elaborate on that even a little bit more.
Sure.
Right? Because you can have someone. So, I tend to agree with the idea that. Hold on, someone's asking, do you want to put a print on? No, we're close. We're in a good direction.
Are you?
Okay. So we can add on some more qualifiers, right? To what it means to be a gender, right? It's not just identifying, right? There's also, like, a degree of pull up mine. There's a degree.
She's really uncomfortable by this point.
Genuinely believing.
She's like, why
right?
am I stuck here?
Yeah, but I don't really think there's much of a distinction there. Like, I don't think there's much of a distinction between, like, identifying a way and genuinely believing that. I think that's mostly just a semantic or linguistic difference. I think those are mostly the same thing. And I think that in the situation... What's that?
Well, how are those meaningfully different?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they are meaningfully different. I think that identifying as something, you can't, like, we're getting to the point of whether you can lie to yourself or not, and I think that's, like, really hard to do.
She starts talking about, like, basically questions of consciousness.
We would have to have a conversation about consciousness.
Yeah, basically.
Think there's much we can actually do about consciousness.
It's like, okay, you want to speculate on consciousness?
So there's not much of a progress we're going to be able to make on that. However,
I'm not sure if
I think that, like, somebody identifying as X, when I say somebody identifying as X, the assumption is that that when they say identify, this is their internal process. Now, when I mean when somebody identifies themselves to others and engages in a social thing, when they say I am a woman, of course they could be lying about that. If they're closeted and they're actually, and they're telling the world they're a woman, but they actually they see themselves and identify as a man and they wish to transition to a man. We wouldn't hold that against them because there's a reason for that, right? Because of all kinds of rules that we have on that. But obviously what we've been talking about here is, or presumably, is the internal processes. So I do believe it's possible for you to lie about how you identify, but that doesn't necessarily, but it is not, in my opinion, it is not the public declaration of your gender that makes you the gender. It is your internal conclusion. That.
Hey, I missed a few follows here. Thank you, Apothecarion. Thank you, Karadatus. Thank you, Taiga Poulet. Thank you, I think I thanked you, Macaroonsi. Yeah, I thanked you. Earth to Space Kitten, thank you. Shiny Lapras Cheeks, thank you for the follows. I think Riley is trying to reinforce what are people who suppress their own dysphoria. Yeah. Yeah, okay, like, that part I get. Like, if you want to synthesize what Emily's saying with what Riley's saying and get out of it something that's more like, a person declaring that they are... Like, a person declaring, understanding, and meaning that they identify as a certain gender is, establishes validity, but somebody might have that validity and not be able to say those words. There it is, chat. Did I say it right there? Is that the fucking synthesis? Is that it? Is that it? Is it the right words? Were those the right words? Do you think? Am I close? I feel like I'm close. If that's not quite right, it's damn close. So it's like, knowingly affirming that you're trans is all the validity that you need, but not being able to do that doesn't mean that you're not valid. I mean, I hope, if that's the priority Riley was trying to preserve, then I feel really bad about this whole thing. If that's what Riley, if you watch this and this is what you wanted, and this was what you were looking for, and this is what you were trying to express, please fucking say something, because that I think people can get on board with, right? Chat, I didn't post any cringe, did I? Did I step into backwards into any turf like manure? I don't think I have a turf manure on me. I don't smell any turf manure. I think I'm okay. I think that's an okay statement, right? Is my statement fucking with anybody? Let me know, because I want to know if I'm posting cringe here.
Concludes your gender.
Well, I mean, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we are able to reason.
I need you to speak up if this, if what I said, obscures or compromises or misses your identity.
That's how people can lie to themselves. I mean, this is something that I would say is easily observable in the trans community. There are plenty of people who are
okay. So what Demon Mama's saying is that an affirmation by a person who understands and knows their gender has come to that truth, right? Is enough to, is all you need to establish that you are, who you say you are, but that people who aren't to that point yet, people who can't make that affirmation because they lack the knowledge, they lack the they're not, they're afraid, for whatever reason, which is what Riley's saying, that they are, that just because you lack, being able to make that affirmative statement in and of itself establishes all the validity that you need, and you don't need anything from outside. You don't need any, of the objective, right? Verification, right? It's just the verification comes from inside. But if you can't express that yet, but it's there, you're also valid. Because I think that's what Riley's worried about, is that if you take Demon Mama's, and Demon Mama wasn't saying this, but there's I guess if you kind of extrapolate it out in a certain way, if you see it in a certain way, you could say, okay, well then, that means that if you can't make that affirmative statement, that, if you're not there yet, if you don't realize that, are you saying that those people, aren't, if those are, trans women that aren't to the point where they can vocalize that, that they're still, trans women, if that's what Riley was trying to affirm, I really hope that, somehow, because, that's a lot less of a spicy take than the way it's coming off.
Trans who experience feelings or thought processes which earlier in life,
womanhood is a shared identity, so it crosses into the external, but it's rooted in the internal. So validation only requires the internal validation, identification. The external stuff is just about the roles and whether people allow you to be the woman who you are. Exactly. No, that's important too. Yeah. That's what it's important to note, that the self-ID is sufficient, but not the sole thing involved. Well, are you saying that's what Riley was saying? Do you think that Riley, if Riley heard what I just said, would Riley be like, that's what I was trying to say? Or would Riley be like, it's more like, you know... Because if that's what Riley was trying to say, then this is a fucking tragedy, right? Because, you know, maybe...
But then later in life, when given...
Riley is implying self-ID isn't sufficient. Okay. Well, I mean, if that's true, then yeah, that is a spicy take for me. You know, that's... I just hope that she didn't mean it the way that I'm saying it and somehow voice it in a way that signified to everyone else that she meant it the way that you're saying... Ophidian.
The proper ability to understand those involuntary internal thought processes.
Otherwise, the definition would be fine, yeah.
You learn a new concept and it helps you understand a large body of work.
Okay, so chat is affirming that she is speaking specifically against self-identification, that self-identification in and of itself isn't sufficient, that there's something more that needs to happen, not just that you could still be valid without having the capacity to self-identify because of whatever reasons that you don't feel safe or you're not there yet mentally or whatever.
That you may not have that it helps you understand like
yeah, Riley's taking identify to mean just say, and yeah, that's not the definition that Demon Mama's using.
New range of concepts that you weren't able to put words to before, like stochastic terrorism.
Oh my god,
learning
chat.
that concept and then being like, oh, I didn't know how to be able to describe this phenomenon.
It's gonna be like a 2-hour. This might be like a 3-hour video on YouTube here.
I wanted to describe, right?
I mean, but
it's one of the arguments that trans meds make. So chat's pretty sure that that's what Riley's saying here.
I don't know that it's like, I don't think that like, I think we run into linguistic and conceptual issues when we start to ask whether people can like meaningfully lie to themselves.
Yeah, that because unique name.
I think,
yeah, that was bothering me too. That was bothering me too. I
well, because like, I mean, think about it this way. Like, was I
like, because there was just like, even, oh God, there was so much of that too. There was so much, like, what I would say is that Riley's issue seems to be something about like wanting that external validity so bad that we're willing to go hard on those that we see as a negative stereotype threat. In other words, somebody that does, you know, your identity in a way that you think appears cringy to the outside. And therefore, you know, you end up pushing on people. And when you do that, you push the same buttons that society's been pushing.
Lying to,
and it hurts.
Myself,
it doesn't feel good.
To describe what being trans was, because I didn't like. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it does, Flamdar. It does. It really does. Damn.
Well, my question is why? Because I'm trying to figure out like what.
I've been there. I can relate to Riley on this.
Is. And if it's not,
it's the Blair White.
Rephrase this. There's also another problem. It being trans is just because it seems like there's an issue where if we have it where it's just
no, ContraPoints isn't a trans med. Mm-hmm. She's
we run into a lot of
something. It's something different.
Like what?
She's just more oriented towards, I guess, diplomacy with the cis world rather than, you know, the kind of radical affirmation of identity that Demon Mama is exemplifying, right? And I mean, like I said, this may be some kind of weird Hegelian dialectic, right? That we've got to, you know, transcend. But like my heart's with what Demon Mama's saying, you know, on this matter, right?
Why do trans people deserve civil rights and recognition?
Oh, now we've changed the framework because
no. But I'm saying like why does any group deserve special recognition? Why do you deserve to be recognized?
Chat, are you not on screen? How did this happen?
Why are we not advocating for furry
I don't know.
rights?
People probably
like actually unironically.
I unironically advocate for furry rights. Absolutely. Were you not being ironic earlier? Like, I unironically advocate for furry rights. I would literally fight for furry rights. Same way as I would fight, I would literally...
Wait, why is chat not showing up?
Now, I would die for AI rights. If we ever invented
something must be... Oh god, it must be behind.
Intelligence, I would die.
Wait, hold on. Those are not equivalent. Like, if we're able to... the idea to choose to identify with a group that does not require inherent identification...
So if you're wondering where the chat was, YouTube,
from a legislative perspective,
it's my fault. I'm sorry. You got to read Riley's chat though, so you got to read some, and like I read some to you too. Anyway,
usually has to naturally come back to. It's not a choice.
I don't know why, because I did have like some chat like
what you're elucidating.
I don't even know where this
is a issue of political expediency and not one of truth. Because, for example, I will give you an example of this from the very history of trans people itself, which is that it used to be the go-to line.
I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it.
Argue that they were trapped in X body.
I always want to put out the best video, you know?
Because
like, I want to put out the definitive video.
To essentially play on the idea of a soul, whether you believed in a soul or not, and argue that you were a female soul trapped in a male body. That was politically expedient. But we can acknowledge that's probably
so
not
another
true, right?
Okay.
Can I ask you another question then? I just really need to ask this.
Sure.
Is there any meaning?
So another way in which this really calls to mind the whole contra thing is the whole discussion of like the old self definition of trans people, which was, as Demon Mama saying, a woman trapped in a man's body. That was the way that trans people were able to explain it to at least some cis people, at least to medical professionals, at least to the people that were supposed to, like, you know, help them with transition. And yeah, they were like kept a lot, and yeah, they were forced to tell a stereotypical story to ensure that they would get the treatment. You know, because if they didn't tell the same story that was thought of, like, you know, this is what a, you know, trans person's gonna, this is how they're gonna present, right? If they don't present that way, and I mean present in the sense that a patient presents, that a patient appears to a medical professional in a certain way, then they wouldn't get the medical care. So a lot of people were shunted into the binary, into this stereotypical description of an experience, you know, that like, you know, basically codified itself in a metaphor of a woman trapped in a man's body, or, you know, vice versa. And that was the legitimacy. That was what society needed to hear to somewhat understand, although they didn't understand and they didn't treat us very nicely. And, you know, it was still a fucked up time. Demon Mama's, you know, trying to nod to having moved past that and having a radical new self-definition. Whereas Riley, I feel like there might also be a priority on her part to preserve. So the way that gays became accepted was, you know, through like through the concept that being gay wasn't a choice, okay? Up until the point that the LGBTQIA movement decided to start making the point that the people were gay because they were born like that. There was a counterpoint that was too strong to fight, and it said, gays are degenerate. They're doing this because they want to. They're doing this because they're bad. And we shouldn't be okay with that. Like, you know, like maybe you don't want to arrest them. Maybe you don't want to do this or that. But you definitely don't want to do anything to signal that this is an okay lifestyle to our children, right? This was the religious rights, you know, opinion. And the thing that finally defeated that was you know, gays adopting the argument that it wasn't a choice. So Riley is maybe like hanging her hat on that chestnut to a certain extent, where Demon Mama's already past that, like, right? You know, Demon Mama and I think a lot of us, like, you know, don't really need that like talking point anymore.
Distinction between the way that a person self-identifies and the way that a furry self-identifies. Is there any meaningful difference between those two things?
Between the way a furry self-identifies?
Hey, that's a good point too. It doesn't matter if it's choice or not. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get across. And I think that's what Demon Mama's trying to say too. Is that, like, you know what, we don't need to, like, you know,
and a trans person self-identifies?
A furry self-identifies as
like,
a star.
It's not a choice, it's an excuse. And even though at the time that excuse might have been what, like, got, like, gays, like, a certain amount of rights, we don't need that. We don't need an excuse anymore. We haven't done anything wrong. We don't need to excuse ourselves. We don't need to acquit ourselves. We don't need to come at the cis world with our heads hanging down in shame because we haven't done anything wrong. We're not bad, and we need to get over that part of our history.
Wolf, whatever.
Well, okay, wait. I think you have the wrong.
With that persona, they believe they identify with that persona.
Wait. Hold on a second. Are you confusing furries with otherkin?
No, I'm actually.
Are you sure?
I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that either of them work. But I'm specifically talking about furries. Like, I'm
Star Wolf thing,
in my mind right now. Like, okay. I'm specifically thinking about furries.
Sounds more like xenogender.
I have a question for you. What is in your mind? What defines a furry?
Oh yeah, I always want to ask people this. I always wonder if people really understand furries or not.
All right, some people are saying that not all furries have personas. Okay, yeah, well then let's talk about furries who have personas. All right, well let's limit it down to just furries who have personas. Let's say, like, a furry who has a persona. It's like fully developed. It's someone.
She doesn't know the difference.
Like an extension of self, in some way. Like, it has a name, has a fleshed out character background. Like, they identify with that character. Okay, is there any and, like, let's say that we're also talking about someone who, like, puts on the fursuit, goes to, like, a furry convention, and they wear it around, and they're in the fursuit.
Wait,
right. Is there any meaningful difference between? No, I'm not talking about otherkin. Stop talking. Everyone's thinking I'm talking about.
I mean, because it does sound a little bit like there's a bit of a misunderstanding, but I could be wrong.
Fluffy attack helicopter.
To talk about furries. So I just want you to answer the question. Is there a difference between someone
throwing personas into the mix?
They put on fursuit.
Furries harm trans people. Right? Get out of here with that queerphobic nonsense.
A trans woman who says that they're a woman.
Oh, for sure. Obviously, they're completely different things.
Okay, why are they
totally different things? A fursona.
No, why?
A fursona is a character that you make, that you create, and that you pretend to be. I don't know of any furries who believe they're their fursona at all. I've never met a single furry like that. Most people, that's a character like you would play.
Like, I kind of know that people have a stereotype,
a vessel that you're able to insert yourself in to
what furries are like,
put on a mask and have
or what motivates furries.
Of playing as somebody.
But I never know how.
There is an obvious difference between that and a trans person. Yes.
Okay, people are saying that I'm thinking of otherkin. So is there any meaningful difference between the way that an otherkin identifies and the way that a trans person identifies?
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Chat, I thought we were gonna watch. Again, I really wanted to watch.
Of course, this might change with some future developments in the understanding
Lumi
of
stuff, and maybe try to finish the Destiny, the Riley and Destiny stuff. So but I don't know if we're gonna be. We might just have to end stream after this, after this debate.
Otherkin is making, much like the Jesus situation, a claim to
you didn't hear. Okay, so BZB
identify, and
yeah, I would love to tell you that, like, that Riley calling furries degenerate is fake news and it didn't really happen. Unfortunately, it did. It's in Demon Mama's video. I didn't include it in this video, but I'm telling you right here, I watched the video earlier today, and yes, she does say that. She says it in a joking way, but it's joking and kind of derisive, and I think it's coming from a place of looking at furries as a little bit of a negative stereotype threat in the trans community. In other words, RGR maybe wants to emphasize how you know, to cis people that, like, you know, trans people, you know, are, you know, we're just like you, and the degree to which the trans community embraces, like, you know, and is all right with, and you know, coincides with, like, you know, furries is maybe seen as something that might get in the way of that, right? I'm trying to be as charitable as I can in describing this, but and it shows, right? And it comes out and it manifests in that way of, like, you know, she's saying degenerate, she's joking, but you know what I mean? She doesn't believe it's degenerate. She doesn't believe, you know, she's not being an actual, like, she, you know, that it's memeing, but it's like kind of just like in this context, it doesn't lend itself to a lot of charitability.
And
why is woman not an object?
Huh?
I mean, you know, you could also see her editing in a positive light. You could also see her editing as her realizing that that was problematic. So I don't want to necessarily, like, I mean, I feel the necessity, you know, if I'm disagreeing with somebody as hard as I have with Riley in this video, that, like, I don't want to come across as straw manning any part of what they're saying. And, you know, I want to, like, leave open the possibility of a more, you know, understandable position. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Because, like, right, I don't want to jump to conclusions.
To have this conversation.
Why is a woman not
First they came for the furries, yeah.
Delineating between things that are not objects. Why are not women objects?
Because I don't believe that a woman is an object. I don't
think she's a furry.
I believe it's an identifier.
You describe several people and characterizations as objects.
Yes. I've described, yes, because Jesus is an object in terms of the linguistics that we're discussing.
What do you mean in terms of the linguist?
Okay, when you refer to...
Sorry, mods. Say sorry to the YouTube video.
Okay, there's a really good example that people use.
You're cool. You're okay.
At me to use this example
you're good people, Flamdar.
It's
you're
about,
good people.
Being a fan, like how
you
define someone who is a fan of the Seahawks, for example, the Seattle Seahawks. Well, they say they're a fan of the Seahawks, and so they are. We don't use... Socially, we determine a fan of X.
I've heard this example too.
Yeah, but it's a perfectly apt example because why?
Because then you get into the question of, can someone be a fake Seahawks fan?
Yeah, and I would argue no, that's a silly idea.
I mean, Chad,
the only person who would
I'm sorry, I said I agreed with Demon Mama on most of this stuff. I gotta hard agree with RGR here, though there is such thing as a fake fan. Like, anybody who, like, fucking expressed sympathy for Mix Vivian after that debate, that's a fake no comment chick fan. So yeah, you can be a fake fan. She's right on that one, chat. She's right on that one.
Ever argue your fake fan is on the same level as somebody who would try to validate your gender?
No, but
they're obviously being. Of course, it's more cool to invalidate gender because it's more important.
Right,
you know this, right?
This is what we're talking about.
You know this, right?
Hold on, we need to get at the concept. We need to get at the core of what a social construct is.
Destiny going over the whole Demon Mama Riley debate on stream.
You know what a social construct is, right?
Yes, of course I do.
I'm glad Riley is happy to have Destiny settle an argument that really has nothing to do with him.
Everyone within the given space broadly understands to have either a set number or a general range of characteristics.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, cool.
We mutually agree upon these things.
Okay. A Seahawks fan is going
there
to
is
be
such a thing as bandwagon fans.
Like, you can't go out in nature and just find a Seahawks fan. Like,
you can't go out in nature and find a woman.
Created we as a society socially.
Good point, though, Demon Mama. Good point.
Yep. You can't go out into nature and find a woman either.
You don't find women. Like, woman is not a naturally occurring phenomenon in nature.
And I don't disagree.
There are things that we associate with womanhood that are, but they're not all found in the exact same places.
And gender is, I would argue, one that is functionally most functionally.
This chat is actually cringe. Thank you for noticing, Cruelix. How are you doing tonight? Are you having a good night, Cruelix?
Version of gender, and also the most ethical.
Are you having a good time?
No, it's not. It's
meow
really
meow.
not.
I think it is.
All right, we've already.
Can we do anything to make you cringe anymore?
But you've agreed with me. You've agreed with me almost on all of these points, but then we get to a point where it's like, okay, so then when we try to put all my ideas in a line,
to help you get your,
then all of a sudden there's
we're not trying to edge you here, okay? If you need to have your cringe-gasm, you need to have your cringe-gasm.
Most of the things that you've been questioning me on here so far.
No, I haven't, because most of the things that we're talking about, you're with me, but just self-identification, all right, is not everything that we have agreed on.
All my homies are cringe.
Than just self-identification.
But
like you acknowledge
for
that, right?
womanhood,
like we've agreed that there are trans people who have more things going on in their head and in their expressions to society than just self-identification.
What she just said makes me think that, like, makes me question whether she was saying what I was saying earlier.
I think we've begun to push into what the difference between being trans and being a woman is. Which they are different things because obviously there's multiple types of trans people. But also,
Trans is just an umbrella term to identify as a gender contrary to the gender that you were signed
apparently Demon Mama and Mel are transphobic now. And look, I've had my disagreements with both of them in the past, but fucking shit, they're not transphobes.
Anything other than like
any more than I am, okay? We probably all have some internalized transphobia, but right?
All right, fine. Then
calling them transphobes doesn't make sense, Destiny.
I still fundamentally like this is.
Well, there's been a lot of important questions, but if you want to,
but we've agreed on most of them, and then we get to a point we get a snag. So I need to figure out what happened. All right, so we go back. Trans person does not know that they are trans.
Sure.
Is she just asking, is this person valid?
I mean, like, there are plenty of real-life examples, but I feel like...
Is she just asking, is this person valid? They don't know that they're trans? Are they still valid? Are they still a woman?
All right, let's take...
I don't... Like, here's what I'm gonna say. Like, I guess, you know, you gotta ask the person. Sorry. I know, 5-head, right? You know what I'm saying? But, like, yeah, I guess you gotta ask the person.
Let's take... I'm trying to construct a I don't know. The first person that's coming to my mind is...
Because, like, right? I don't think that like, trans people's experiences are universal.
My roommate, the person who I mentioned earlier in stream.
Okay.
Faith. Emily.
Sure.
All right? She is someone who described to me...
Was this always Riley's take? I think she's been working on it. I think she's been, like...
had thoughts.
She made a paper. She wrote, like, she's got a paper, like, it's like a, you know, formal paper. It looks like the way that a law is written, and it's like, you know, well, whereas, therefore, you know, shit like that, right? And it's like her position. It's her position. She has a position paper on gender, and that's what she's getting. And she does make a point that she's like, chat, I've had this position paper on gender for a long time. If you had a problem with this, like, this is pretty weird for this to be the first time that you've said anything.
Her belief. Or made her desire.
Demon Mama had to protect her tweets? Oh, fuck.
Okay.
That sucks.
But she repressed those desires. She grew up in a conservative household. She grew up in a place which normalized ideas that being in any form LGBT was in no way socially acceptable. And so even if she felt these feelings and recognized their existence without being able to categorize exactly what they were, she suppressed them. Okay?
Yep.
The feelings persisted for a long time.
Yep. I did say I had a problem with it when I first joined. Oh, okay, so you did say something. Okay.
Any longer.
So it's not like this is the first time. Okay. Because she was acting like... She really was acting like that this is the first time anybody's, like...
out and says for the first time I am a woman is 25.
Okay.
Up until that point, for the entirety of her life, even though she
the vast
majority of her life that she had these feelings.
Jonah Hayden, that's funny.
She told herself and everyone around her that she was a man. that these feelings were not her being a woman, that these feelings were some nebulous thing that her family was saying that they were, seduction by the devil, or impure thoughts, or what have you.
Social construct just means the construct is social.
She knew those things were there.
Not the thing the construct is referencing.
But told both everyone around her.
Medical sex assignment and gender role are both social contracts, but the first one is constructed around external characteristics, while the second is constructed around identities and roles.
She lie to herself?
Okay. Did she lie to herself?
Riley has always talked down about self-ID.
I think that's really
but has never actually gotten into a debate about it before now. Until the Sedosha thing. Yeah, I guess we could blame Sedosha, chat. Should we blame Sedosha? Is this Liz's fault?
I mean, like, it's a very important
Can we blame Liz?
Because if she was both internally, as you put it, wrong, and also externally wrong,
well,
then there is something else that's there aside from just her self-identification. Something else.
I think that again,
it definitely isn't the first time I voiced this when
wrong here, because I feel like that's a loaded
I had to bail from the RGR community.
I do, I really do. And again, what you're describing is shockingly similar to my own life, because I grew up in a cult, and I did not even know the word trans until I was about 19.
Here's what we're watching this for. This is what Riley's...
I realized that I figured out that I was trans, I experienced an incredible amount of severe backlash from my family. And
oh my God.
Also at one point
Thank you,
to
Tom.
me like renouncing my need
Welcome.
to transition, and
welcome hosters or raiders,
because I thought I could force myself to like do this. I think we get into murky waters where some of these terms, like some of the words that we use to describe this, stop making sense. Because like, was I lying to myself when I genuinely believed at the time, enough so that I threw out my hormones?
Yeah, but genuinely Demon Mama was the angry one. Yeah, right.
Throwing my hormones away and forgetting about all this trans stuff would be the best path of action forward to stop the pain that I was experiencing. Was I lying to myself? I don't know. I don't think that's a useful way of describing it. Was I perhaps mistaken about some of the conclusions? Yeah, for sure. Mistaken, like, maybe. I don't know if I would say that I was lying.
If I was to talk to Riley, I think the thing that I would say is, look, Demon Mama is dealing with a world full of viewpoints which are incompatible with her sense of dignity. And as much as a lot of people say, oh, I don't have one of those viewpoints, oh, I'll let you keep your dignity, oh, I'm not against you, I'm not anti-trans, she's heard a lot of people that say that shit actually offer her something less than a viewpoint that's compatible with our dignity, right? And so she's on watch for red flags, and like, you know, right or wrong, and like I said earlier, I'm trying to be as charitable as possible with what you're saying and not make any assumptions, that you're not assume anything, you know, like you know, and explore the possibilities of, like, you know, how we codify things in language versus how we actually mean things, and you know, that I might be getting you wrong, right? But yeah, you know, this is a thing, like, the reason she's getting so mad is not, I mean, it's because of the red flags that she's getting. Like, and every time she wants to, like, kind of de-escalate and be like, okay, like, let me, like, calm down, it's like she sees another red flag. And there's a lot of people in this chat that are seeing the red flags too. And so, like, you know, that's the thing. That's why you're getting this response. Like, I don't think anybody's being unreasonable.
Myself. And I think that's kind of there's a more
my camera isn't centered.
That, right?
Okay. Oh, it's like this, right?
Sure.
This is
word you
better. Is this better?
If
I come over here.
Wrong.
Was I wrong? Well, I was wrong about dysphoria going away.
No, I'm not asking. I'm asking.
Is it better?
Wrong.
Half comment chick. Yeah, I was just leaning against the wall. The walls, my friend.
I think I was wrong.
This is a very important question because if the answer is yes, then I'm inclined to agree with you that you are a woman. I've never said that you weren't, and I'm not saying anyone else isn't here. But I'm just saying, if we bite the bullet and you say no, then any feelings that you had internally that cause you the struggle do not matter to whether or not you are the gender that you are. They are irrelevant to your considerations as you are making them.
Meow. Meow meow chat.
I feel like this is getting really like really blurry and not particularly clear anymore.
Yeah, she doesn't want to sign on to anything that's,
if we were to take a snapshot of it.
Like Riley's trying to get her to sign on to this, and
2 days after I threw my hormones out, and
she can't when she keeps on seeing red flags.
What I identified as, I would probably tell you that I identified as a man. And at that moment, I don't think I would be lying. I think at that moment I would have been telling the truth because that was how I identified. Now, was that actually happy for me? Was that actually, conducive to my happiness? No. And I couldn't quite acknowledge that at the time because I was lacking important information and there were external factors that were pressuring me.
Okay. But why didn't it make you happy? Like, why?
Why didn't it make me happy?
Why didn't identifying as a man make you happy?
Oh, I mean,
good night, tomfoolery. Hey, give
right?
tomfoolery
that's a really personal and
follow. I haven't
question,
had a chance to check out his stuff yet, but he seems pretty nice.
I can tell you why.
He's got. I know some of the people that are on his panels, so
I have never identified strongly.
Yeah, thank you for rating in, Tom. So I can't give I can't give any kind of like a
gender that was voiced upon me at birth.
Thumbs up to the takes or anything like that. I don't know much about Tom's takes, but
society decides is what you're supposed to be as a man.
Do some interesting panels.
And so at that moment, it didn't make me
Riley's
happy.
Body language is tensing up.
Restrained me because of the assumptions that society places.
That question about muscles, that's actually a really interesting one. I don't want to take away from the chat though. This is it's kind of an important topic, but try asking me again. I will be, as soon as I get a chance, as soon as I can move into a place that'll allow me to do this. I want to set up a studio and do some kickboxing videos too. So, and some exercise videos.
No.
Men. On what are identified as men.
You definitely I definitely know about muscles, I definitely know about medicine, and I definitely know about working out. So
that grated on me.
Right,
yeah.
But why didn't you like those expressions being pushed on you? Like, why?
I mean, for the same reasons that I don't like anything else, right? It's a personal preference at the end of the day. I mean, I guess it would be a very intense personal preference, but that's all things, right? That's right?
But is it just a personal preference? It's it's just completely, entirely, singularly personal to you and nobody else. And hold on, I have to make sure I'm getting this right. I
mean, it's
if you I just need a reason why you didn't like those things, because my answer is that the reason you didn't like those things is because there are mental processes.
Did Riley get quieter, chat? Do you feel like Riley got kind of quieter?
Expressions or habits. It's not dysphoria, just the way that we're wired. Some of us have those preferences. And that to some degree,
she's got quieter.
Baked into us.
Yeah.
All right. That's not saying that.
There's some chance that maybe when Demon Mama unmuted her, she didn't turn her all the way back up. I don't know. I could see that happening.
A choice.
are you?
Sometimes you mute people by turning the volume all the way down.
I don't mean to.
Maybe she did that and she didn't put it back up all the way. Something like that. I don't know.
Answer a question with a question, but what it feels like right now is
she lowered her voice and moved away from the mic. Is what BZB thinks. Yeah, that makes sense. That checks out.
Or justify the existence of trans people, and I don't think that our existence needs to be justified.
Oh God, this is so. This is it right here.
Define it.
Logically, define which part. Like,
I'm trying to logically define what gender is.
Gender? I mean, if we're going to, if you want to work from, okay, again.
Yeah, that's what I heard, is her community wanted her to, like, get some rest and stuff. And
I'm a gender abolitionist. I would love if we could get to a point.
Logically define gender, yes.
That's not what I'm.
We gotta ground our axioms, chat. We gotta ground our gender axioms too, apparently.
All right, fine. If you want to get rid of the concept.
Fucking gender, like, for debate bros. What the hell, Riley? What the fuck?
I'm just trying to define what it is.
What is
right
this shit? I'm sorry.
Not what it should not be. Just what
there's a bit of absurdity here, isn't? Is there a bit of absurdity? Do you think, chat? Like, take a step back and appreciate the absurdity of logically defining one's gender.
It's descriptively, not prescriptively.
More than a bit.
Descriptively? Oh my God! Good luck with that. I wish.
Why do we? Well,
apparently,
if we logically define our gender, then maybe the cis debate or logic lord bros will respect us a little bit more, and apparently their approval is really important. So that's why.
On that journey, because you never have an answer.
I have an answer.
I don't think you do.
Yes, I do.
I don't think you do.
Yes.
I don't believe you.
Do.
But go ahead.
Why
don't I believe you on why you don't have a descriptive idea for one of the most vaguest and most misunderstood concepts in the world? Yeah.
All right, all right. You want to? All right, fine. Then the evidence I use. All right, argument equals evidence or opinion plus evidence. The reason why is because I base my opinion based on the totality of all the academic literature on what gender is. I've read all the literature on what gender is, and I base it off of what the prevailing academic theories on what gender is.
Okay.
All right, that's why.
Okay, that's great.
Did any of these sources, Riley, that you read, have the gall to make some ridiculous pronouncement like, I know what gender is? Because generally, I think you try to avoid making those kind of sweeping claims that no one can take seriously.
But you do realize no one agrees with you, right?
Literally everyone agrees with me.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
I read all the literature ever. I'm sorry, Demon Mama.
Just because
the prevailing academic consensus on it.
Riley's like, I'm so sorry, Demon Mama. I read it all the literature. I read your literature. I read it all. Sorry, I had to bring it back. It back.
No, I really disagree with you. I think you're wrong about that.
If you want, I have all the sources here.
It's perfectly fine.
I have all the sources. I'm so sorry. I've caught them all.
Of gender is, but that does not mean that
I'm so sorry, Demon Mama. I've caught all the Pokemon already. You won't be able to catch anymore. You won't be able to become a Pokemon master now because I've already caught them all.
That is the descriptive claim for what
every
gender is,
single Pokemon
factually.
In every single Poke area of the Poke map, I've caught them all. They're all in my Pokeball. They're all in my Team Rocket facility. I'm so sorry, Demon Mama. I'm so sorry.
No, I take a scientific realist approach to definitions. You know what scientific realism is?
You wouldn't understand, Demon Mama. I'm so sorry. You're not smart enough. It's a scientific realism thing. You have to be. I'm so sorry. You're not playing chess with your giant chess brain on a chessboard made of your brain against a opponent constructed of your brain in a fucking room that's also made of your brain. I'm so sorry, Demon Mama. You're not smart enough. You're just You wouldn't get it.
Give me your definition
of it. All my homies understand scientific realism.
Scientific realism is when you basically follow
oh my God,
the observable definitions of things within reason, because obviously science is limited.
A scientific realist approach is where a scientific model has no inherent value, but rather is as valuable as it can produce objectively reasonable consistent or accurate and consistent outcomes. All right. It's a scientific realist approach. So I take the aggregate of what all the prevailing academic theories on sex are.
I don't know. Sounds kind of like a virtue signal. I don't know, Scoob. What do you think?
All right. All of them. Looked at all of them. And I see, all right, what are they all saying that's the same?
It's actually, somebody pointed this out. Wait, yeah. She's describing something else. It's a related concept, right? But it's not what she's saying, right? Isn't it like a related concept?
Able to suss out.
There's like another name for what she's talking about.
Theories. People are saying that I should have read theory. I can guarantee you I probably read more than you.
You know what? Like, I don't know. Demon Mama got banned from, like, Riley's acting like Demon Mama is, like, coming after her. I feel like if anybody engineered this, like, blow up, it was not Demon Mama. I can't say for sure that was Riley's intention. Maybe she's just really tired and really upset, and I don't know. I wanna steel man this the most I can. I don't want to jump to conclusions the way that she's jumping to conclusions. May I remind you, on Demon Mama, I don't want to do the same thing to her, but it's really hard not to, honestly.
And I look at what all the theories
are you saying more than me personally?
I mean, like, I'm open to that. Sunglasses. Like, show me where. I mean, I'll look at it again. Like, we're watching this with them both, like, both of their faces on screen, just so I'm sure that I'm not making a mistake and not, like, missing some kind of, like, nonverbal language cue that went on, right? I want to give this all the, you know, benefit of the doubt I can.
Or were you talking to somebody in chat?
The audience. I'm looking at my audience. Okay. My audience is saying, Riley, read more theory. I trust me. I've read more theory.
I mean, but the fact of the matter,
this is where the audience gets.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter.
It's where Riley's audience runs out of patience.
Read on this particular subject, right? Because at the end of the day, you're synthesizing which similarities between these different sources you've identified, and then you're coming to your own conclusion based on synthesizing these many different sources. And by the way, I don't believe that there is 100% consensus.
Oh my God, they're doing it. Celebrity meat samples. They're doing it. Fuck yes. Yeah, I was talking about Bjork would be the one to volunteer her DNA for the synthesis of lab-grown human meat.
Overwhelming consensus.
For hipsters, of course, because
everyone agrees with me.
Everybody else is gonna eat pork or fucking fish or something else, chicken, who knows. The hipsters, they're gonna want to eat celebrity meat.
Chats disagree. True. I mean, okay.
Can I try a piece of your Katy Perry? Ooh, I'll have the Russell Brand.
I feel like this is I feel like that is a claim.
She literally nuked half of her community, replaced it with Destiny fans. Her Discord is basically a Destiny proxy server at this point. Jesus Christ, Riley, don't you know that they don't, like, I can speak from experience, they don't all stay, okay?
That beggars belief.
All the people who come into your community over Destiny, they don't all stay. Only, well, if you're like me, then the cool ones do.
Believe.
The idea that there is
really
a single
cool
consensus on what gender is, I don't think that we have one.
She's being love bombed by those folks, yeah.
American Psychological Association. Sure. We can go through them one by one.
Go for it.
Well, as long as she wants to be the fucking anti-demon mama, but I don't know, like, how long you want to ride that train. That seems like
socially constructed roles.
Especially, like, if you're not, like, if you were, like, some fucking debate lord, and you were somebody that, like, you know, was, like, one of the only people that had ever argued Emily to a standstill in a debate, and gotten her to back down from the spicy take that she had taken, right? You might be able to say that, like, okay, yeah, no, I can play this game. I can be the anti-demon mama. But all you're going to do by setting yourself up for, I'm trying not to, this is going to sound mean, chat. This is going to sound mean. But all you're doing by setting yourself up this way is you're just setting yourself up to get clapped, right?
Behaviors, activities, and attributes that a given society can.
You are not to Destiny as Demon Mama is to Vosh. Or maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe is Destiny an easy clap? Some people might think so. I don't happen to be of that opinion. I respect Destiny's intellectual rigor and his debate skills.
appropriate for boys, men, or girls.
Someone who's been a victim of those at various times in my streaming career. I respect those, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that Riley is quite ready to step into the shoes. I believe she may have bitten off more than she could chew this time. That's not a good idea.
Interact and feel about themselves.
Okay.
That's not a good idea. Wait, did Destiny actually watch this through, or did he just listen to...
So
he watched it through from RGR's perspective, I think.
Your definition that you just gave excludes non-binary people.
RGR's description to Lumi was dishonest or best. We're gonna have to get to that tomorrow. We're gonna have to do that tomorrow because I don't think I have time to do the Lumi stuff tonight. I don't know. We'll see, chat. We're almost through this.
With that?
We're almost through this.
No, so I acknowledge the aspects of it which provide scientific realist benefit, and I make sure to not include that which clearly is shown to not produce reasonable, accurate, or consistent outcomes.
Okay. So,
and also,
I mean, all I'll say about that, like, I love Lumi, but this is why it's important to keep your, it's important to keep your, like, independence, you know what I mean? It's important, like, if you're gonna orbit around multiple, stellar objects, right? Don't just get caught in a Vosh loop or in a Destiny loop or in a whatever loop, right? You gotta kind of swing your way around like a comet.
If you want to just like throw out...
That's what I'm saying, chat.
Disagreeing with your own...
I'm like a comet.
Own sources.
No,
so this is where I'm saying that you're synthesizing...
Wait, hold on. Do you literally... All right, hold on. Are you about to throw out the American Psychological Association as a credible source? If you are,
no, I'm not. I'm just saying that their definition is even flawed. And we can recognize this and we can point this out.
Where does this spicy
bit
start?
My position does not have a problem with that, but your position does, because you just use them to defend... You just use their definition to defend your position, and then I pointed...
Behaviors, activities, and attributes that a given society considers appropriate for boys, men, or girls, and women. These influence the way that people act, interact, and feel about themselves.
Okay.
While aspects of biological sex are similar across different cultures, aspects of gender may differ.
So your definition that you just gave excludes non-binary people.
Behaviors, activities.
Okay, this might be the clip.
Tautological association. Sure. We can go through them one by one.
Go for it.
Gender refers to the social...
That there is a single consensus on what gender is. I don't think that we... I feel like that is a claim that agrees with me. Both chats disagree. True. I have never...
There's overwhelming consensus, yeah.
Everyone agrees with me. Both chats disagree. True. And by the way, I don't believe that there is 100% consensus. I have sources you've identified, and then you're coming to your... Were you talking to somebody in chat?
Audience. I'm looking at my audience. Okay. My audience is saying, Riley, read more theory. I trust me.
Okay, that's where we're starting. We're gonna do that right there.
Into somebody the audience. I'm looking at my audience. Okay. My audience is saying, Riley, read more.
Okay, so I think this might be the beginning. I think this clip might be the beginning of the video.
That, like, you at the end of the day,
the consensus. Yes, we know what gender is. We've studied it. We've isolated it in a lab.
Right? Because at the end of the day, you're synthesizing which similarities between these different sources you've identified.
Please don't read more theory.
You're coming to your own conclusion based on synthesizing these many different sources. And by the way, I don't believe that there is 100% consensus. I have never...
There's overwhelming consensus, yeah.
Everyone agrees with me. Both chats disagree. True. I mean, okay.
This is the first... Okay, look, I criticize Emily when she's arrogant, but this is the first time I've seen her be slightly I mean, there might have been one more time earlier, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's earned at this point. It's earned at this. It's like...
I feel like
you can't really be mad at her for that at this point.
I feel like that is a claim that beggars belief.
What do you mean it's beggars belief?
The idea that there is a single consensus on what gender
is. We have a control group for gender called cis.
Here, I'm looking at the American Psychological Association. Sure. We can go through them one by one.
Go for it.
Gender refers to the socially constructed roles, behaviors, activities, and attributes that a given society considers appropriate for boys, men, or girls, and women. These influence the way that people act, interact, and feel about themselves.
Okay.
While aspects of biological sex are similar across different cultures, aspects of gender may differ.
So your definition that you just gave excludes non-binary people.
Yeah, sure. It excludes.
Are you okay with that?
People. No. So I acknowledge the aspects of it which provide scientific realist benefit, and I make sure to not include that which clearly is shown to not produce reasonable, accurate, or consistent outcomes.
Okay.
And also, like, if you want to just like throw out
but you're literally disagreeing with your own sources.
The APA, the ultimate arbiter of gender.
Wait, hold on. Do you literally hold on? Are you about to throw out the American Psychological Association as a credible source? If you are, then
I'm not. I'm just saying that their definition is even flawed, and we can recognize this, and we can point this out. And
yes,
my position does not have a problem with that, but your position does, because you just use them to defend. You just use their definition to defend your position, and then I pointed out that would. Wait a second, I'm talking.
Yeah.
And then I pointed out that would exclude trans people, and then non-binary people, and then you immediately had to reel back your source.
No, I'm not reeling back my source. I've never backpedaled my source. All right. What I want. All right, hold on. Now I need to ask you another question.
Okay, you've had to ask me so many questions, and all of them are of utmost importance. And I'm getting a little bit tired of this of this sort of miasma of inquisition that's been placed over me for the last hour and a half.
She's not wrong.
Every single thing that I say is somehow
she's not wrong
to my position as a public creator, but you get to act as some sort of inquisitor who gets to decide that.
Because
you're giving a definition of gender which is not based, which has many problems, which I have tried.
I disagree.
The best
and you
of
haven't
my
been
ability.
You haven't been able to point out a single problem with my definition of gender.
Yes, I did. I literally started out by saying that there's an infinite regress, and you just hand wave that aside.
Because
and I tried explaining
you pointed out an infinite regress, which I then pointed out is not the case. Because it is not.
No,
it is not defining as an object. We are defining, in my opinion, gender is a identifier, and identifiers can be declared. You can declare an identifier, just like you can declare yourself a fan of the Seahawks.
But there's more to being a fan of the Seahawks than just declaring that you're a fan of the Seahawks.
No, there isn't actually, and I don't think there is to being a woman either. I really don't think that there is. I think that you can. I think that you.
No, but literally, you're just no. I want you to listen to me right now. Literally, I gave the basis that you are giving an infinite regress. You responded with, "Oh, well, I just believe that's not the case." That is not a sufficient rebuttal.
That is not what I said. I provided an argument for why it's not a so-called infinite regress.
Yes, and you gave a bad argument. You gave, "Oh, well, if you just identify as a Seahawk, that makes you."
I've really had enough of having this conversation with you, Riley. Because listen, okay,
we're gonna end it before that. We're gonna end the. We got the infinite regress going in chat. It's regressing. It's the infinite regress. It's stuck in backwards. Infinite regress all over the place. Infinite regress is. You're getting an infinite regress, and you're getting an infinite regress, and you're getting an infinite regress. Hey John, how's it going? I'm giving everybody infinite regresses. I'm like the Oprah of infinite regress.
No, there isn't actually, and I don't think there is to being a woman either.
Okay, right there. That's a good. A little editorial little editorial decision on my part there to cut it right there. Okay, there we go. And then I want to go back here. And like right there. Right there. That's my spicy take. That's my spicy clip. I got the spicy clip, chat. I don't know why I'm talking with a horrible Italian accent here. This is like, feel free to at me.
Sex are similar across cultures. Aspects of gender may differ.
So your definition that you just gave excludes non-binary people.
Yeah, sure. It excludes.
Are you okay with that?
People. No. So I acknowledge the.
Ooh, I gotta have some more something to drink, don't I?
Realist.
Thank you, Stay Healthy Bot, and thank you, chat.
And I make sure to not include that which clearly is shown to not produce reasonable, accurate, or consistent outcomes.
Okay. So
and also, like, if you want to just like throw out
but you're literally disagreeing with your own sources.
No.
So this is where I'm saying that you're synthesizing.
Wait. Hold on. Do you literally? All right. Hold on. Are you about to throw out the American Psychological Association as a credible source? If you are, then
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that their definition is even flawed, and we can recognize this, and we can point this out. And
yes,
my position does not have a problem with that, but your position does, because you just use them to defend. You just use their definition to defend your position.
So is the primary argument by Demon Mama that one identifies with a descriptor woman and comparing it to someone who said, no, it's not. That's just the, this is just like the primary, yeah, maybe I should, like, I want to explain it to you. If you want to come on, if you want to come on after this, I'm almost done. I'm going to edit this, a little bit. But Johnny, I don't know. It might be too late for you. If you don't want to jump on, you don't have to. But I can talk to you a little bit about it if you want me to try to catch you up and just give you my take on it, which is not the be all end all by any means. But okay, so here's how it explodes in the end.
I really don't think that there is. I think that you can. I think that you.
No, but literally, you're just no. I want you to listen to me right now. Literally, I gave the basis that you are giving an infinite regress. You responded with, "Oh, well, I just believe that's not the case." That is not a sufficient rebuttal.
That is not what I said. I provided an argument for why it's not a so-called infinite regress.
Yes, and you gave a bad argument. You gave, "Oh, well, if you just identify as a Seahawk, that makes you a Seahawk."
I've really had enough of having this conversation with you, Riley, because listen, what it sounds like to me is that you were really like, and this is my conclusion.
Yeah, the infinite regress.
I feel like you feel the need to justify your existence as a trans person without and you want to have a 100% definite objective truth, when in reality we're dealing with social constructs and linguistic limitations. And I do realize that.
Let's see if I learned anything from the last time I had to edit this. Right here, right there, no, there. So we're gonna cut it right there. That, and then what do we do here? Take that off, and then click here. Come on. So we're just doing a little editing here. We got that cropped, and then we transform it, and we pull it over here. And now we have our, whoa, don't want to widen that. Wide peepo, not happy. Don't want that. Go back to crop, and then just, yeah, crop it out like that. Okay, so let's see if this is how I want it. Yeah, there we go.
As a trans person without
I think I figured out how to edit it.
A 100% definite objective truth, when in reality
we're
dealing with social constructs and linguistic limitations.
I wanted an edit where
I do realize
see their faces.
You literally interrupted me. Okay. All right, I'm done.
No, you're talking down to me.
I am literally done.
You literally are not willing to listen to me whatsoever. I've gone through hours upon hours trying to explain this concept to you.
Okay.
No.
Do you want to come on? Okay. Okay, well, that's the end of the debate. That's where I cut it. I'm like wondering, like, wait, what music am I going to end this with? I don't have a good music to end this with. It's gonna have to be the fucking it's gonna have to be the mashup of Plastic Love and the import media. Here we go. We're gonna bring this in somehow. Okay, where is it? Videos, yes. Oh my god. You know it, Dan the Mango. You know it. That's the only thing I can. I don't think that I can do it with. There's another song that I use sometimes, but it's like neither of these songs are entirely appropriate, right? It's basically the. Oh yeah, that would be the one. OWM. You got it. That would be the one to end on. Glad you're cutting it here. Yeah, I mean, for the rest of the stuff, you can look into other sources. What I wanted to do was take the part where they're discussing, you know, this and make sure that you could see both of their, you know, both of their nonverbal language as much as possible while it was going on. So the Seinfeld music. Okay, I feel you. Or the Friends music. How are the Friends? So no one told you life was gonna be this way. We've been steelmanning her shit for 2 days. How are we dismissive? Your job's a joke, you're broke, you don't laugh away. Pretty much, friends, yeah. Oh my god. No. Like the Fairly Odd Parents. Like the Fairly Odd Parents theme song. Like the end of it, like where there's like all those words. Heads up, Stream Elements Discord invite link was generated from... Thank you. That's very good. Wow. That's probably because the mods put it on there. Thank you. Hey, if anybody wants to change that message and just grab it from the welcome screen, like right, I don't think it actually brings people that don't have the right permissions and puts them in the mod chat, in the mod channel or anything like that, but just so we have the peace of mind to know that it's dropping them in the right channel and not confusing them or anything like that. Okay, so we get the Twitch, I think it's called Twitch commercial. If I can find it here. Twitch commercial, where are you? Twitch commercial. I should probably just type it in. Sorry, chat. I'm goofy. I'm strange. Dashboard top right. The curb music would be great. Okay. Well, I'll do this later. I'll work on the Twitch commercial later, and for now, I'm gonna go into general and talk to Johnny. Hey, Johnny.
Hey, friend.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Just wanted to, like, I've been working on this project because, like, I watched this debate way back, I think on Wednesday or something like that, and I watched it from Demon Mama's side, and I was thinking to myself, well, you know, like, I've got my take on it, but is it really a fair take given that I was kind of in a certain person's POV? And I started to try to think of, like, ways to, like, make it so that I could watch the video without, you know, that aspect being, you know, were you, and then I started to think about the fact that, like, so what I noticed is that, like, they're both acting like they're being disrespected. They're both reacting in an angry way, but I couldn't really tell, you know, who disrespected who first or, like, what was going on, because I couldn't see both of their nonverbal language at once. So I wanted to put this together, you know, to do that, and I'm going to try to put it on YouTube tomorrow if I can get it edited in time, just so that that'll be something that people have if they want to watch the video like that, because I feel like it's maybe a fairer way to view it than on one side or the other. But yeah,
I think that's a really interesting angle to put it from.
Yeah. So have you watched it all the way through yet, or?
No, I have not seen it. I've actually just a little bit earlier today, I was in Lumi Rouge's chat, and Lumi was talking about the same debate, and on both occasions I popped into y'all's chats like after y'all had already watched the initial debate. So I'm not sure what the arguments are, except that I know I got to talk about got to ask Lumi a little bit about whether or not being a gender abolitionist or a gender liberationist, as they would call it, is prescriptive for other people. And I think that's usually what these kinds of debates come down to, is whether or not, even if one believes in gender liberation, or if one has really even a decent working construct for gender, is that prescriptive for other people? Can it ever be?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And there was an aspect of this, of exactly what you're talking about in the debate. It was, basically, I felt like, so the whole gay rights debate, like that was like somewhat settled in the mid-aughts by the fact that the Supreme Court came down on the side of like gay marriage being a right and such. So in that debate, kind of what seemed to be the nail in the coffin of the homophobes was the idea that gay people did not choose to be the way that they were. That was the rhetoric used by the LGBT community in order to win that debate. But some would say that it's like an over, simplification, and that like on one hand, like you shouldn't have to say, I didn't choose this, because the line of logic that's being disrupted is the idea that being gay is somehow a degenerate behavior, that there's something wrong with it, and that it's bad people choosing to do bad things, and that even if we're going to say that, like, okay, they shouldn't be like arrested or anything like that, even if society is going to say something like that, the social conservatives were always like, yeah, but we're not going to teach our children that that's okay. We're going to continue to portray this as being a negative behavior that bad people engage in through wrong choices, and like lifestyle was the term that they'd always use. So there's a certain part of, there's a certain resistance to like, anything that says, that doesn't include that idea that like, your LGBTQ status is like definitely not a choice, that was a real, that was almost like a red flag back in the 90s or the 2000s. If somebody were to describe it as like, well, when you make the choice to, we'd say, it's not a choice. You're born that way. And Demon Mama saying, you know what? I don't care if it's a choice or not. You know what makes you valid? Dress go spinny, like that Machine Go Burr, basically, like you don't need anything else. You don't need you don't need to prove it to like logic bros, through some sort of like deductive method. You don't need to, get like, you don't need to get the approval of the cis people, right? That like our validity comes from within, and that we need to fight for that. And that Demon Mama's like really, like that's a priority for her. And I think that their priorities kind of run headlong into each other. I'd like to think that there might be a middle ground where you could say, listen, you don't need anything more than your own affirmation of this is my identity in order to say that that is who you are, right? You don't need any more than that. But if you're not at the place where you can offer that affirmation, if you don't understand yourself yet, you haven't come to terms with your own identity, or if you, are in a place where, like, say, your family's really religious and you can't talk about it. And if anybody ever asks you, are you trans? You'd be like, oh, no, I wouldn't do, no. You know what I mean? You're still valid. So, like, I think that there may be like I was trying to propose, like, I mean, people watch this on YouTube later, and they can make up their own mind if my attempted synthesis of both of these points makes any degree of sense. I had a lot more sympathy, and like, my heart was with what Demon Mama was saying, but I wanted to try to steelman Riley's position and take what might, be worthwhile in preserving from it, and try to synthesize those together. So, chat, you can tell me if I did a good job or not. I've been streaming for a little bit of a while too, so much like Riley and Demon Mama, my brain might not be the freshest, but yeah, that's my take on
working hard
on the whole situation. It's important stuff. And as much as it hurt me to see, like, two really awesome trans creators kind of, come at loggerheads to the point where, like, Riley's banned Demon Mama from, like, Riley is, like, acting like Demon Mama caused this incident and was trying to impugn her morality and is a bad faith actor that shouldn't be like dealt with. And I'm not getting that at all from this debate.
No, and I think, you pointed out something very interesting, and there's this synthesis of the rhetoric from sexuality to identification, right? We're seeing it as the same debate, essentially, if you want to put it that way. We're seeing it as capable of being encompassed by the same rhetoric, and I don't think that's I don't think that's correct, because, for instance, when you have like the famous gay versus pedophilia debate, not to trigger you, Chad, but
this was a way that like gays were maligned historically by being associated with
And so we had to make the distinction between a sexual aberration that is directed at people due to their immediate physical qualities and not a full sexuality capable of love of a partner across a lifetime. Those sorts of distinctions were being made. And so when you get out of the realm of sexuality and you enter the realm of gender and identification, and you try to apply it to this sort of implicitly, like we don't choose what turns us on, right? But we still make a distinction between healthy sexualities and sexual disorders. So we've sort of got that all figured out, and it's neat and tidy, and it fits into medical boxes. But then you get into gender and identification, and dress goes spinny. Like it's, I do think that there is more of a freedom to say we choose to some extent how we express ourselves in gender. Whereas with sexuality, most often I would say people don't feel that they have a choice when they come to fruition as a full pubescent adult. People don't choose how they look. They don't choose what disabilities they're born with, etc. Or sexualities or whatever. When dress goes spinny, like, you get to choose to put on a dress. That's part of identity. That's part of a separate set of human characteristics. I hope that makes sense.
No, I mean, like, and I'm not saying that it's entirely inscrutable and that like, people shouldn't look into it. I will say
I would love for somebody, by the way, like, I know that you put a lot of your stuff on YouTube, and I would love to go into your YouTube comments later and see a bunch of people, like, even typing me big paragraphs about as to why I'm wrong. I would love to see that.
Yeah, so if you're in the YouTube right now, so I probably will attach this along with the video. That makes sense. It's short enough that it'll fit in there, and be a good chance to introduce some people that are watching on YouTube to your content. Do you want to give that a shout out real quick for anybody that's not familiar with? I'm not like transitioning you off or anything like that, but I'm just wanting to make sure that nobody's like, hey, who is that cool person that you were talking to that like I don't know about, because I'm on YouTube, not on Twitch.
I gotcha. Thank you so much. No, my name is Johnny Scarlett, Johnny with 2 T's at the end of Scarlett, and I stream on Twitch primarily. I do have a YouTube channel, which is found under the same name, though. I stream about like philosophy and gender and science and math and whatever I think is interesting. Basically, we're a primarily educational space, I would say. At any given point on my stream, I want to be learning something.
Yeah. No, I've learned a lot from you. You're one of my favorite creators on this platform, and I'm really happy to, kind of have come up at the same time as you do, and, been on some platforms together, and gotten to know you, because like I value what you contribute to this space. So but yeah, it's been a week. It's and this has been tough for a lot of people, like for Demon Mama's community, for RGR's community, for my community, like there's a lot of this debate, like both the conflict of the way that kind of like personalities clashed, and also the fear of not having their identity respected. And like kind of what set a lot of people off was that in the very beginning, RGR makes some jokes about furries, and they're not meant to be harmful. They're not meant to be serious. It's just kind of like the idea being like, oh, hey, if we want to meme on something and pretend we're not okay with it and say like, no, that's degenerate behavior, we could say that about furries, because the idea being that everybody knows that I'm not serious about it. Well, you know, like that it's a little different. Like if you're, you know, if you are serious about it, furry, and you felt that lack of respect all your life, and like, you know, really with this, what it feels like is like RGR sensing a negative stereotype threat from a certain portion of, like, you know, the communities that intersect with the trans community, and kind of just like, you know, like you actually like throughout this thing you become like less certain that like, wait, was that like all memes, or was there a certain not like a meanness, but like I said, a negative stereotype threat that ends up, you know, expressing a little bit more aggression than it realizes, and a little bit more, you know, true like disapproval than you know it's fully cognizant of. But
yeah. No, I understand I understand, like, when it comes to furries, it's always so contentious as to like whether or not they're actually being attacked, right? Especially on like Twitter or platform, you know, I feel like a lot of us are, and this is kind of getting off track of the original Demon Mama debate, but I feel like so many of us are exposed to Twitter to a point where we are programmed in our humor to be extremely like lackluster in explicit intentions. Part of what's so funny about so many like viral tweets or vines or what the fuck ever, I know I'm Vine old, whatever. So many of the pieces of humor that are found there are like so short and snappy that they're meant to be taken many different ways, and I think that lends itself to identitarian politics. I think that lends itself to stereotyping, all sorts of things that are just like implicit, several layers deeper than what people even realize when it comes out of their mouth, you know?
No, yeah, that's the thing, and then it becomes hard for people. Like once a few red flags go up, and you know, I'm pretty sure RGR understands. Hey, Danabo, RGR understands that the trans community is somewhat on the lookout for these kind of red flags, where, you know, we've dealt with takes before, especially from TERFs, that couch themselves in a veneer of respect, in a veneer of acceptance, but really there's something fundamental is missing there in terms of the, you know, of that respect really being there, and that, like, you know, sort of like that you know, you've always got to be on, you've always got to be like listening. You don't want, especially if somebody's trying to get you to sign on to something that has to do with your identity, you know, that you really do look and make sure like that. And anytime one of those red flags gets sent where like, ooh, you know, I mean, like that, the language there didn't sound great. That reminded me of something that I've heard before from somebody who didn't recognize or who didn't accept my identity, you know what I mean? Then it becomes hard to trust. And I think it just like, you know, for a lot of people, like, and you know, it got bad, like Riley's like, you know, chat like kind of turned against her, and I know what that feels like, and I know like the temptation is to like go hard on those people and be uncompromising, but sometimes that chat is like what saves you. And sometimes, you know, even if you don't like agree with them 100%, like it's worthwhile to take a minute and listen. Instead, what happened was like, you know, just kind of massive purges of anybody who wasn't cool with, you know, what she had said, and the replacement of those former community members with like, you know, newly sympathetic members of the of the GGG persuasion. So yeah, that's going to be the fallout is going to be interesting to deal with. But Riley's now set herself up to be like the proxy for Destiny in the war, like, you know, as Destiny is to RGR, Demon Mama is to Vosh, and I don't know if that's where she wants to be, right? Because like she's didn't like, you know, for a debate lord, you know, she, I don't know. Anyway, like I don't think she came off looking good, and I don't imagine that like more interactions like this are going to be beneficial for her in any way except to garner the sympathy of people that hate Demon Mama. So whatever, I don't know. I'm a little bit depressed about this. I mean, that depressed is the wrong word. I'm a little bit like down about this is what I meant to say. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I know that there's a lot of community overlap, and so it can be so difficult to avoid anything that might be upsetting when it regards like I see a lot of people as friends here on Twitch, especially, and you know, chatters of course become friends too, but it's easier with streamers, like other streamers, because we see each other usually face to face, like almost always. And that sort of social relationship amongst colleagues multiplied by parasocial relationship, because we're all kind of still streaming. I think that can make for some really unintentionally aggressive pieces of entertainment, I guess, over the course of these debates and everything that we do.
Right.
Yeah, and that of course again is multiplied by like the sense of humor and the quippiness that a lot of us like to have when we're on the internet and stuff like that.
And I know I can be like victim to that too. Like, I mean, the way I handle it is like I had a disagreement with Mix Vivian last week, and you know, it was pretty messy. It was pretty rough, but it's not going to change like my viewpoints, and it's not going to change her viewpoints, and it's not going to change the fact that on 9 out of 10 issues we agree. Like, I think that she's being a little unreasonable about a certain creator that she really doesn't like. She probably thinks that I'm like, you know, letting my friendship with him blind me to his faults. But and we had that disagreement. But I do hope that at the end of the day that we can err on the side of like coming back together and working together and recognizing that, you know, even when we disagree vociferously, that, you know, we can still do more together than we can divided and siloed. So let's not let this turn us into silos, chat. Let's do everything we can to bridge those gaps and to be those, you know, peacemakers, even, you know, even if you don't like agree, right? At least keeping the communities, you know, from closing off to one another, and hopefully maybe opening the door to a greater understanding sometime down the line. But yeah.
Think of it like your neighbor. If we thought of each other more as intellectual neighbors, you know, we've all established at this point in Twitch politics, there's a few thousand of us or whatever that all are really interested in some of the same stuff. And so on the internet, we are all intellectual neighbors. Well, if you have a disagreement with your next door neighbor, you don't go and egg his house immediately and say fuck you to his wife. You play cordial until such time as you can like really sit down and hammer it out, or not at all, you know, just depending on what your relationship with that individual person is. And I think that it would behoove us oftentimes to act a little bit more like we were physically here present with each other, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I'm hoping...
I am gonna...
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I am gonna hop off, but I did want to like formally invite you, if you don't mind, to a little project that I have in the works.
Sounds interesting.
I am doing a series of panels that are going to be very they're going to be creator driven, I want to say, because I'm going to have I have different initial panel, what do you call it, themes that I want. One is shame. One is money, anime, coercion. These are all like just big descriptors, right? But I want every single, ideally I would give like everybody at least a week or two maybe, and then come together on one night and have a few hours where we all sit down and talk about like the psychology of shame, or the like modern monetary theory or something like that, you know, or even like,
so
if
we're
you
talking
had
like,
on the same night like the psychology of money, and then like some actual economics or something.
I like
to throw
that.
in.
I like the deep dives thing. The deep dives thing are like, I don't get nearly enough of that, and you know, it's a shame, because that's a lot of fun to just like go off. That's one of my favorite thing about Twitch, is like just kind of being on with a bunch of people who know things that have knowledge that I don't have access to, and kind of picking their brains and vice versa, and reaching a deeper understanding that way. Yeah, hit me up on Discord and we will figure that out. That sounds like a great idea. That sounds like a lot of fun. And thank you for the invite. And thanks for dropping by too. I'm trying to get my phone to turn on so I can figure out who is on right now and figure out who I want to raid into.